there was some redeeming things to this movie, but
Overshadowed by some real
redeem
awful
is a
things,
very
yeah.
strong word. There was no redeeming things to this movie. There were some entertaining parts about this movie, but like ice cream tastes good, but not when it's full of fucking broken glass, you know, like I'll pass. Like I do like ice cream, but like I'm not gonna go through and pick around the broken glass.
Today is my wedding day. Now the only thing I have left is this podcast. Welcome to Additional Crew, the spoiler-heavy review show where we choose whatever random film we want to talk about. This episode, we bring to you a sword-wielding warrior, Amethea, and a few companions embark on a life-or-death mission to liberate her people from the clutches of a brutal monarch who destroyed her village and enslaved her people. I am, of course, talking about Hector Olivera's scantily clad and torture-heavy Barbarian Queen from 1985. Hector, the man who directed 27 feature films and will be a youthful 95 this year. Still alive, still kicking, still hanging around. Before we jump into all that, and we will momentarily, let me introduce you to your co-hosts. I'm Nick. Been here. You know me. Here with me is Adam. I think you probably know him at this point, too. This is the VHS Goblin, Adam, hanging out in the house. What's going on, Adam?
Hi, I made you watch this movie, and now you're a worse person for it. And congratulations.
Here's the thing about choosing the movies is that sometimes you get one and you're just like, oh boy, I just made people do that. But remember, and everyone listening to this, remember as well, we appreciate you and you can make decisions. And I hope you made the decision to watch this movie because I think you probably did. Here's a fun thing. If you've been following our Instagram lately, we've been posting a lot about the stuff we get. It turns out we both like getting things and collecting things and having things that are cool, unique. And I think that one of the important parts of this is that that's kind of just part of our personality. So I kind of want to bring it into the podcast a little bit during the start of these.
I do very much like collecting garbage.
Oh yeah, dude, that's great. Adam, why don't you show off some of the stuff you got, man? Show off some of this cool stuff.
This is lame, but I guess not. I've noticed going into the thrift stores that VHS are actually more expensive than not Blu-rays, but DVDs now. DVDs are the cheap ones, and I'm like, I only got VHS because it's like $5 for $1, right? So I went ahead and I finally did it, and I got myself a portable DVD player.
Oh, sick, dude! Those things are cool.
Now, yeah, it's pretty neat. It's like this little unit, but it works great. It was super cheap, cost nothing. And it runs in the car or in the outlet, and now I can start buying stuff on DVD and catch up because there's so much stuff that's not on VHS that I just never watch.
You know, I have the same one. I got it for my kids actually because like I don't really love them having streaming services because like that.
That's where I'm at. I'm trying to get everything offline. Yeah.
Because like I also like with the kids, I found like having choices, like this many choices that are available. When they're young, it just means that they don't make choices. They're like all ADHD brained about it. They're like, okay, next one, on to the next one, on to the next one, on the next one, right? Oh, you got those blank DVDs too.
So I can record like PBS. Sal really likes Nova and stuff, and I'll just put all the shows on here, and then it's like, there you go, man. Now you can't accidentally click on some link to whatever, you know?
Right? I love it, man. You don't even have to worry about parental controls. It's already there by just only having the stuff you gave them.
That's why he's got the TV VCR combo in his room too.
I you know how it was hard, but I found a TV with composite component cables on the back or inputs on the back. It was actually more difficult than I thought it would be. So yeah, kids in the room, they've got a VCR and some VHS movies. I'll let them choose them each time we go. Like, just whatever kids movies, you know. And then they've got the DVD player, and that sounds archaic and old, but trust me, with all the stuff that's out there now, like kids, I let them watch YouTube for a while. It was just garbage, honestly. Hi, welcome to my YouTube viewers.
If you know what you're going to watch on YouTube, it's a great resource, right? But if you're scrolling through content and just letting the algorithm pick for you, it is bad.
Oh man, you can imagine what it picks.
Could you imagine having a fresh YouTube account and just scrolling the front page?
Yeah, I can. I've seen it, and it's not great. No, but welcome to disc-based media, right? Like this is it's fun because how it goes with these thrift stores is exactly this. there's always something that's the cheapest, and it's always least sought after. Then it gets really big and really cool, and then it shoots up in price, and then the other thing goes back down. So I don't know what happens now. Like DVDs bump up, and CDs are now apparently sought after more, like more than vinyl records, even because they were the cheaper ones.
A big name thrift store was selling multiple tapes at $5 or $10 a piece.
Oh,
I'm like, what are you doing? Like Top Gun. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what are we doing here?
yeah.
But then the
Huh.
DVDs they had on super sale, 5 for $1. I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
Like,
right. It was funny because I think in like the early 2010s I got way into vinyl, right? Because you could go to Goodwill and you could get a good record for $1. It
10,
was like,
they had them 10 for 10 some days. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. It was like, okay, I could get like a full James Brown record. I could get a full, Marvin Gaye record. This is over in Sacramento, and I loved it. It was like, this is just free music at this point. Like I've got a record player. No one uses these anymore. You can get great stuff if you buy the CD. It's $13. And now it's the opposite. The CDs are $1, and then the records and thrift stores are up to like $20-$30 for the name, even though they're beat to all heck. I don't know why I
I
censored
don't
myself there.
even bother looking in the bins for records anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I've looked. I looked. I guess I probably stopped looking about 3 years ago. Now is
Yeah.
like the only time I'm ever going to find anything I like anymore if it's already
Mm-hmm.
curated, you know?
I was still like sometimes looking up to last year until I had a guy who was talking to the employees about records coming out, and he got given a whole entire stack of the records in the back at a Goodwill, right? And they gave it to him, and there was some like actually good stuff in there, and he got first dibs, and they were all expensive. I was like, what is actually the purpose of me? I just go to the record store, just buy them from the record store at this point. It's just easier, and I think that I'm more ethically supporting someone who actually got this music to be brought in at this point.
Yeah.
But anyway, a lot of people who collect probably already know this. Um,
Thrift store politics and the whole thing at this point is like it's its own thing.
like I get that like they should be cut in on some of this profit, but I don't really, because if thrift stores, especially the ones that get everything for free, like the purpose
Around
of it
here, the
was
worst
to
ones are
redistribute.
Goodwill and St. Vinny's,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
it's like, I don't know. I'm not mad at you if you're asking for, you know, I don't know. Tapes for $1 seem fair.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I the flipper culture is just kind of interesting. It's kind
I
of,
think that's a big part of it. And
yeah.
I mean, look around me. I keep it. So,
I get jazzed about how much something could cost, because then I know that not a lot of people have it, and that makes it cool and rare. But you can ask anyone.
you
I've
got to
like
come check
barely
out
ever.
the selection here someday, dude. You'll love it.
100%. And it's like it's never really something I'm ever going to actualize the value on. You know what I mean? It's all just going to sit on my
It's one
shelves
of
until
those
it's not worth
things
anything.
like, this is a story. There's a homie I have that's like a guy that does like lots of estate sale buys and stuff, but he always saves stuff for me like Betamax. But he has a bedroom that is just the best videos, like the
Mm-hmm.
best
Mm-hmm.
VHS. Like everyone, if you were to buy them on eBay, is $100 tape, right? That kind of ridiculous stuff. And he's just like, I don't have anybody to give it to, and I'm like, put me in your will immediately.
Yeah, it's like, please
I will take all of it, and I
do
will give
not
it a
let them
good
send it
home.
back to the Goodwill.
But it's still like, with my stuff. So I'll just put, whatever Sal doesn't have, you can have when I die. That's how you'll get it.
See, there we go. And
I'm like
with
20 years older than you, so you'll get to enjoy it for at least 20 years.
well, it all depends on how the events are enrolling. But this is why we have physical media, because it matters a little less when we talk about these things.
Let me tell you something about physical media that digital media can't do for you. Lots.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Um, I'm
Control your
just
control your media, folks. Very important. I'm not going to get all preachy. This isn't a political podcast, but control your media. Know what you're ingesting.
mhm.
MK
um
Ultra.
yeah, it's like one of those things. It's like you can ask yourself about a lot of stuff, but if you have a physical media copy of something and you take even the smallest bit of care, these things are pretty resilient from what I've noticed. If you even take the smallest bit of care to keep it somewhere dry and warm, warmish, not hot, right? You're gonna keep this stuff forever, and you won't have to worry about whether or not it's streaming. Every time Christmas rolls around and you're trying to find Home Alone, and they're charging $20 to rent it, you've got it for $2, and it's there forever.
Forever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When you're out looking, though, look for X rental stuff over like Buy Mart buys, because the quality of the tape is drastically different. They
You
got
can feel the heft a lot of the time. Yeah.
Well, it's just the quality of the tape, right? The metallic tape. But yeah. The Buy Mart ones I've had issues with, but not really with the tape going bad, but repairable things. But the tapes like to snap. Like any little bit of pressure on the tape, it'll snap them. But that's why you get I've got them, the little splicing kits.
You can get real cool with it. It's just interesting, and you can't do that with a digital file. But well, let's talk about movies. So what do you got? Ooh, Evita.
No, why did I get this?
Antonio Banderas is in it. I think pretty obvious, right? What's up? Oh, he needs a case. Are you creating something with this? What are you creating?
Play case. I don't know. Like, what TV show do I watch next? Probably Fallout Season 2, so maybe this is a Fallout Season 2 case.
That's sick. How many episodes? Well, never mind. We'll talk about that later, but that's pretty sick.
So, yeah, I got a blank case. Let me tell you something, people. You don't find the high-quality blank cases like that anymore. If you do find blank cases for sale, they're super cheap plastic. Like, the new ones they make are garbage. And they cost $1 a piece. So when you're at the store, especially the Goodwills where I got this from, tapes are 20 cents a piece. They're $5 for $1 at the Goodwill, but they never have anything. But they constantly have the old rental cases. So it's a little cheap way to get a 20-cent old school case.
Right,
and then when
sense.
you put together your art project, it looks a lot more like, old and beat up and rental style. And there's always stickers on the cases and stuff. So it's a good reuse, because nobody's ever going to, I'll take that movie, I'll wrap a rubber band around it. You know what we should do is like a free movie library. You know what I'm saying? I'll just put that in a shitty case and put it outside. And, but that's what I'll do with it. I know I was acting all dramatic with it, but I have old crappy cases. So that's going to be put into a crappy case. And then I get to reuse the good case.
There's a use for this. And the free library is not a terrible idea either. Okay, so you get any other movies you want to bring up? You want to show me off? Show it off. Let's see.
Hockney.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So this is
it's a nice cat.
David Hockney was an artist. So this came from Home Vision, which is like a really big, like, if you were to go to like a modern art museum or something, and like in the gift shop, they would have these, for fucking $80 a piece or whatever, but they're super rare, so they had like Degas or O'Keeffe or Seurat or so anyways, this one is Portrait of an Artist, David Hockney, and he was a British painter, and it's cool, and I really like it. I like the box. I just like the way it looks, and the wife is super into art, and she likes this, so now it exists.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
You can almost see it in like the composition of the image on the front, right?
Oh, it's one of these. It's this case even, and this is the kind of stuff I geek out on. The super high quality case. It's archival stuff. It's nice. It's nice. So I picked that up because 20 cents.
I feel it. It is good to know like your old your labels and things. You can find some pretty high quality things. Like I remember the record store. One of the things I'd always look for is those mosaic CDs. And if you got a mosaic CD, you knew it was going to be an awesome jazz record from the 20s or 30s that was really really maintained.
That somebody actually cared about and did a good job with, and those are always like that. At the same place that had Top Gun for $10, they had this for $1.
They don't know what's going on.
No,
this has got to be St. Vinny's.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, thank you. I'll take the Live Rage Against the Machine concert for $1. So everybody, I assume, has seen that or knows who Rage is. I don't think I need to explain it.
No, it's a great time for some Rage.
Hebrew letter movements for healing and renewal. It is moving your body into the shape of Hebrew letters to, so I guess it's like Tai Chi, but with Hebrew alphabet.
Okay.
I it's so esoteric that I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sold. So I buy weird things too. You ever see
Uh-huh.
this before? Ever hear of this?
No, no. Mm-mm.
Awesome, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna save that one for last because that's my favorite. I got the Tao of Steve,
Oh,
and so that's got Donald Logue in it. Donald Logue was in that TV show. He's the redheaded gentleman there. He's funny. He's a funny dude. What was the name of that show? He was on Grounded for Life, which
yeah,
was
yeah,
on,
yeah. Yep.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a kind of a short career from stuff that I knew, but this movie was like exploitation like a really bad version of the dude. Like I'm a guy
Yeah.
that doesn't care about things, and that's what makes me cool. But like, but like he tries. Anyways, bad movie, but good movie.
I love the fact that the tagline is calling out another movie of the similar vein. Who I know what women really want. They're like, what women want with Mel Gibson? No good. I know what's really up. They want Steve.
They want a fat guy. I get it. And I got Steve Martin live. Not only is it Steve Martin live, it's also a Vestron Steve Martin
Oh,
live.
cool, cool.
So nice old tape. I don't have this one. I'm actually just like waiting to watch it. And then I found a Betamax out in the wild, which is rare.
Plus,
Like you don't find them anymore. I got All Dogs Go to Heaven on Betamax.
sick.
Yeah, yeah, dude. So I like Don Bluth. I like his animation style. This movie is very sad because I very much like dogs, and I don't. I want to keep my dogs, but this is a great movie, and it's on beta. So I was super
Charlie
stoked to
Sheen
find
is
that.
the lead in that one, right?
Oh boy.
Like he plays the like kind of like grifter dog that is also good at heart.
We got Lonnie Anderson,
Okay,
Dom DeLuise,
okay.
Charles Nelson Riley,
Charles Nelson.
Melba
Okay.
Moore, Burt Reynolds, and Vic Tayback. Burt
See,
Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds, huh? Maybe it's the second one. I swear one of those has Charlie Sheen because it's that movie. It's not the other dog movie that they came out with at some time. But
And then other than that, I guess before the last time we talked, I got a stack of pre-records that were Oregon Duck Bowl games
yeah, that
that
was
I'm
pretty
pretty
sick.
stoked about.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I know I was playing those on the last show. That's about it though. I haven't found a lot out in the wild. I got the two boxes of junk that I went through and did videos for, but we'll upload that. Like I'll go through and fix those and upload that at some point. But that's just like there's a couple of good things in there. There's a bunch of stuff I wanted to watch for sure, you know.
Yeah, I get you. It's not necessarily like the show off stuff, but the watch stuff for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh,
I feel it.
I mean, there's always a couple of hitters, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to show off a few things.
I'm excited.
The first one I'm going to show off is the coffee table that I picked up. So I went to a place called Music Millennium in Portland, and I'll name drop them here because if they want to send me a gift card, that'd be sick. But Music Millennium in Portland is the exact sort of store that I would love to open because it had all of like the labels of blue, like the people who are still currently releasing movies, all organized by like number that they released, and they had pretty much the whole catalogs that were available. Then they of course had a huge used section as well as like old back stock, and then there's a awesome music selection as well. I didn't even get to the music selection really because I was like too busy looking through the movies. But I went there, so I got the first off the coffee table. This is a second sight release. This is a movie that I've heard a lot of really good things about, and I didn't understand. And my understanding of the movie was it was actually about a coffee table. I don't know that that's true, but I figured like, how could you make a good movie about a coffee table? That's asinine. But because of the way I'm talking about it right now, yeah, there may be a spoiler alert coming through that one.
I
Yeah.
mean, just right off rip, make it sentient, right? Like you could there's your movie.
It,
Yeah, but like just a plain coffee table. A coffee table sees a lot of stuff.
Yeah, well, it's like these people have a new family and they have to choose what coffee table to buy, and then chaos comes after they choose a coffee table. So, you know, you can make a lot of assumptions. Second off, Dust Devil. Just check out that cover. That's so cool. I don't
It is
know.
cool.
Like, this is a movie by the same guy who did Hardware. I'm spacing the name, even though it's right in front of me. Richard Stanley. So he did Hardware. He also did Dust Devil. It's a
I like Hardware.
Yeah, this is like a Western horror film. So
I haven't seen it.
yeah, I mean, either this one I've heard so many things about, and
I
I
watched
always
a
wanted to
Dust.
watch it.
I'd watched a Dust movie, by the way. I also watched a Dust movie.
Love it.
I
Okay,
watched Dust Bunny.
Dust Bunny.
Mm-hmm. You keep going.
Okay,
Dust Bunny's good though. Watch it.
okay. Have you heard of Anthropophagus?
Yes.
Okay, so that one is one of the banned movies from the the UK. That's like they call them the video nasties, which is just such a good name for these
Which
movies.
is which Adam had. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this one's like about a cannibal dude who eats people, well, because that's what cannibal dudes do. And apparently, it's really gruesome. And they thought it was an actual snuff movie when it came out. It was on like a watch list of mine for forever, and then I didn't watch it until, of course, it was off the streaming service. Hence the reason why we hate streaming services. But I did manage to catch that one, and it was on sale. That was pretty sweet.
Right.
Umbrella released Cypher. I think maybe I've talked about this in this pod beforehand, but this is like a movie that I remember watching when I was 17 and really drunk and getting my mind totally blown by it. But I don't remember any of the details because I was pretty drunk. So
the case is sick though, eh?
Yeah, and it's all about like corporate espionage and what it means to like get your identity into the digital world, and that's basically all I remember. Very cool. Super excited to watch that one also. I love going to movie stores, man. They just make me happy. I'm just like choosing things. I'm like, yeah, sure, it's gonna cost a minute, but this is awesome.
Yeah, that's the problem, right? It's like I can't even be trusted at CD Game Exchange. So
Yeah, I feel that 100%. One of my favorite old series is Santo. I just love this stuff, man. I picked up Santo versus the Riders of Terror. It's an indicator, like special edition. It's got a whole booklet, tells you all about the making of it. But it's just such a cool thing. It's Cuban movies, made right at the time that Castro was taking over. Like, I think the first two flicks didn't even get finished because Castro was in the middle of the revolution as they were shooting. But just cool movies, and you have like a lot of these movies in this vein, but there's just a luchador just running around kind of beating up people for the government, and it's very vaguely explained, but you don't need it explained better because that's cool enough, and there's just reasons to remake monster movies. And the final one I'll show off here is another Umbrella release, and it's Pulse. And I bring this one up because we've talked about this. Is Kurosawa, and not Akira Kurosawa. I'm once again spacing this guy's first name, but it's a Kurosawa, same guy who did The Cure, which we did on this podcast. This is the original version of Pulse. Now, a lot of Americans may have seen Pulse as the American version. Once again, they were copying off of an old Japanese film that was probably most likely a lot better, and I had a lot of faith in this director after watching Cure. So, Pulse. I just wanted to show those off because sick. I love getting movies, man. Showing them off is so cool.
Hunting them is the best. Watching them is the second best, but it's one of those things that us people that really geek out about this stuff, we want to share it because we know that, like, I appreciated everything you just showed me. I want to watch all of it.
And it's like the time in the day, and it's hard because, like, when you're out there getting it, I have just like Janice to talk to, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, but she doesn't have the exact same appreciation I have. So she's being kind, she's being nice, and she does care about what makes me happy. So she's showing that. But
Deborah watched Barbarian Queen with me. She loved it.
Okay, you know what? This is as good a time as I'm gonna get. Let's talk about Barbarian Queen.
Deborah thought it was great.
Okay, that's perfect. This is a good segue into Barbarian Queen. So Barbarian Queen, once again, is the 1985 Hector Olivera directed film. Directed in Argentina. I don't know if this counts as an Argentinian movie necessarily. Maybe you can speak to that.
I guess we get into it now, right?
Yeah.
So during this time in the early 80s in Argentina, there was a tax shelter happening, and then there was funds to make movies given by the government, right? So imagine like an Uwe Boll film, right, where the German government paid for all those really crappy video game movies that came out that he did, like House of the Dead and whatnot.
You didn't like Blood Rain?
Nobody did. And then And so this was happening in Argentina at the time, and it was an art grant, right? But they got a flat fee per movie made. And so they kind of ran through different directors, but it was all produced and written by the same crew. So they built a set down in Argentina using local labor and the big thing for them was they didn't have to pay union fees. They
Oh,
didn't have
good.
to
Okay.
pay. So they got totally like scammed the movie industry, went down there, built this set, used local people, indigenous people, whatever, to make all of this happen out in the jungle. And then they filmed multiple movies, all within the same run, using that exact same set. So you can go through and watch like Barbarian Queen 2, Deathstalker, A Tour, like all of these movies that they did, it's all the same set. It's all the same. That castle and those walls, it's all the same. They didn't, so they were running through and they were billing as if we're doing a whole new movie every time with a new Argentinian director and the whole, nine. But it was just a slop factory. And so you were getting these really like exploitative movies coming out of this all under the guise of fantasy, right? But these movies weren't selling because they were sword and shield fantasy movies like a Willow or a Legend or something. These were all coming off of the back of Conan and Red Sonja. And so they were trying to capture that like adult fantasy feel.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously missed hard in a lot of ways. But the fascinating part, it was all just tax shelter and an ability to make movies for dirt cheap using actors that didn't have any protections in the country that they were in and using crew that had no protections and everybody just stayed there. You'll see in a lot of these movies they would bring in different leads, but the background actors were all the same in all of them. So it was just like this slop factory that was
Yeah.
pushing out
Okay.
movies there.
Okay. And so Barbarian Queen was the one that I have questions about the business like acumen of this. Besides getting things for free, are they not competing with themselves with having the same exact sets? But I guess it doesn't really matter. If you think about like in the
No,
I imagine like the I Am
this is
Omega
the
or
VHS era, right?
mm-hmm,
So these were people couldn't get enough of films, and people like there was a special group of us who like couldn't get enough fantasy movies, right? Like
mm-hmm,
they were so popular, but there was such a lack of them. Production values were so high on them; it was a hard movie to get made. Well, not if you go to Argentina and you don't pay anybody and you just,
yeah, yeah,
pump them
right.
out. And then when you go into the video store, the art on the cover of this is so fantastic,
It
right?
really is
And
too.
you look
Yeah.
at it and you're like, this is the coolest. So, of course, you're going to rent it. So, of course, the video store is going to carry it, right? Like, every single one of those movies follows that exact same formula. And then you watch the
Mm-hmm.
movie and you're like, this feels like, you know,
There's a
barely
disconnect
passable,
there. Yeah. Yeah.
but in the best kind of way, as far as I'm concerned. But
Mm-mm.
yeah, it's in the accomplishments here. That's what I said, right? It's an Argentinian tax shelter. Not only is the movie exploitation, but the act of them making the movie was exploitation as well, right? It's double exploitation, and it hides or it tries to hide the majority of the issues and things that they're bringing up, which almost, like you were saying earlier, almost comes along like they're trying to do it in good faith, and then just but boobs, right? But boobs, and so everything's fine now, right?
Yeah.
And endemic of movies of this time, especially like college comedies and these kind of fantasy sci-fi exploitation films, right? Like, like Meatballs, where the guys are looking into the girls' locker room through a hole in a wall. Like, gross. Like, how gross. But, dude, oh, it's funny. Haha, boobs, like the stuff that they play off in these kind of movies. Anyways, we'll get into that too. But yeah, they made it there in Argentina because it was cheap, and you know, um, the sets weren't terrible. It looked nice there.
Yeah. It made sense enough to me, and I. Well, okay. Let's talk about the story first because I have some things that I think Argentina it makes more sense of. But
So
okay.
the the thing about this movie is
Mhm.
like how it was written originally by Cohen is that it's a Roman story, right? And so imagine Romans going to the British Isles and taking over picked villages. And it was supposed to represent that these men were like Roman legionaries that were coming in and breaking up villages, taking the women and children, and was like, in his mind, an accurate representation of what would have been happening at the time. Um, so there's a part of me that can see that. Also, he went on to say in the same interview that this character that he wrote for part 1 and 2 of Barbarian Queen was later turned into Xena Warrior Princess.
Oh, okay. That feels maybe a little disingenuous, but
I agree 100%, but the things you'll say later in life to get your name
yeah,
published in a fucking
yeah.
magazine.
I wrote Zeta first. Uh,
Yeah. No, that's what he
but
said. Yeah, direct. Yeah.
I guess I don't blame him. There are like similarities there, but that's kind of like, hey, I came
Yeah,
up
but
with an
what about
archetype.
Red Sonja?
Yeah, right. That's like
Red
I
Sonja
used an
was first,
archetype,
right?
and it was the same archetype, so I wrote her essentially, which okay, maybe a little bit, but
I
I
would
think
say
you're
if you
giving it.
kind of want to take that strength of character, like the kind of character that they're trying to build with that in a sci-fi or fantasy setting, you probably have to go back to like Barbarella, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
to really nail it.
I'm sure there's some fantasy book that I don't know about too that was doing this all well before. Like, a
Oh,
woman could be
sure.
the queen, and she could be the best fighter. And Red Sonja came out in 1985 also, so
Oh, yeah,
you
see?
know.
So if you
Uh,
couldn't make it to the theater to see Red Sonja or the drive-in, you could absolutely rent Barbarian Queen at the store.
hmm hmm
It
The
has
barbarian.
10 it
This
has
is
10 times the nudity.
we this is the we have Red Sonja at home.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
um.
yeah.
So yeah, okay. So the story, just to give a basic, this makes sense what you're saying, because essentially they are going to these villages to take the people and take slaves and destroy the cultures that aren't them. Essentially, I do have to imagine this is probably very fairly realistic based on what a commanding culture, or I don't know what you call it, a dominating culture would do in certain areas. They'd say,
Mhm.
hey, we've got these guys who might be good warriors, but there's not a lot of them. Let's just go wipe them out to make sure they don't plot anything, they don't do anything. And they happen upon the Barbarian Queen's village. I don't know the name of it. Um, I don't know that they said it. Maybe they did. I didn't catch it if they did. But on her wedding day,
Mhm.
and they burn it to the ground, steal her friends, kill most of the people,
Abduct her
and
sister. Yeah.
yeah, the sister thing.
You like
Uh,
how they hit you with that 15-second out the gates?
it was I didn't mark it. It was 46 seconds until I saw boobs for the first time. So that was pretty good. That was really quick. And
Not
just
not in a way you want to see them
no,
though.
no. Mm-mm.
See, that's why people don't understand. Just because this movie has those elements in it, it's not. There's nothing. It's why it's hard. Like obviously, this movie's sexploitation, but it's almost hard to call it that because you derive no enjoyment from seeing it.
No, it's very mean, and it's like
How many times I said gross?
yeah,
That's disgusting.
yeah.
I hope they kill all of these people.
Hey, but it doesn't, okay, so like we're talking about the story part of this, right? And what I'll say is that like it has more sexual assault than our current administration, and it's I don't know that that's true. Maybe about the same amount.
I would
Um,
assume that if there was any authenticity in what he was saying about making a period correct piece, there was so many other things that were ridiculous that can't be true.
mhm.
But if this was a period correct piece, all of Braveheart, where the same sort of things are happening, just in a respectful, I don't know how you could say respectful, but you know what the fuck I'm saying. Like you can't have your cake and eat it too with these kind of movies. You can't cross the line of the things that they were doing in this movie and still be tongue in cheek and funny about it. Like there's certain times you have to take things with a certain level of severity. And
Okay,
this was 1985.
yeah, there's a moment I'm confused about in particular. Okay, so we get a rape that happens within the first like minute, and it's a very
Yes.
like they don't there's no penetration. I'm
Let's
gonna go
be
ahead and say that,
very
but like,
clear about everything in the movie. You see nothing, everything is implied,
but it's
right?
implied very heavily.
Well, they want you to know that bad people are bad and they do
Yeah,
bad
yeah.
things and they're bad, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
so obviously pushing the narrative that like these are terrible human beings. Look at the sex fantasy the writer has about dominating women, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
very much so. Yes.
Like, okay, so I'm gonna fast forward to the scene with the woman tied up on the rack, and not in the torture room, but the first time it happens at the river village. I don't know what you want to call it, the river stronghold, where she's tied up on the rack, and the
They
one
hit us
guy
with
goes
that
out
one real
there.
quick too. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like beat up. He's out there, and he
Cut
makes it.
marks all around her chest and like
Hmm.
yeah.
And they make it very clear that this guy's
Oh,
out there to rape her, and
smile for me.
yeah, just the grossest stuff all over. But then afterwards, when he disappears, they're like laughing about it. And they take a second to show the other guys, the other villains, the other warriors, whatever you want to call them.
Well, they're guys wearing black leather, so you know they're bad.
Yeah, and they're like laughing like, "Oh, he wouldn't finish and be quiet, so it's probably nothing." And my question is, am I supposed to laugh when they make that statement? Like, is that supposed to make
No.
me laugh, or like what's going on?
Like I already want you to kill these people, right? Like you've already set that when
Don't
they
need to do
came and
more.
burned
Yeah,
down your village and like stole and raped you. Like that's we're done. Kill everyone, right?
yeah.
Um Once again, it is very hard to insert humor into something that is not funny at
Mm-hmm.
all.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like a 9/11 joke, like it's a very real, like it's hard, like, and Cohen as an individual, if you watch his movies, um, I would, I have and I do and I own them. And they all have some level of what it seems like repressed male frustration against women in power. So it seems like he has this real, like the civil rights movement and women, the women's liberation movement in the 70s. Like, I don't think sat well with this guy. And I think he used a lot of these films as like a vehicle to vent his frustration about women and also people of color dynamics and how they can have what they want, but to get what they want, they have to pay,
Mm-hmm.
and which like you hold it up to a mere like Russ Meyer's sexploitation type movies and it's just the counter opposite, right? It's women in bad situations that are empowering themselves to take over the patriarchy and like create a world that's good for them. In this movie it's like this world exists and this is the world that you live in and terrible things are going to happen to you and they have to happen to you or you won't get change, right? Like the punishment in this movie is severe. Let me be clear, when I first saw this movie, and the only time I saw this movie, I was 14 years old, and I saw it on USA Up All Night with Gilbert Gottfried. And so this was on cable television back then. I don't know if it's allowed now, but this came from Seattle. They weren't allowed to show breasts on television, right? So I saw an edited version of this movie that didn't describe any of like the sex stuff, and it was just like battle scenes. And I loved it.
Yeah.
And now later in life, I've rewatched it and looked at it through a different lens, and this is exactly why I want to keep watching movies like this because just the fact that when I grew up that was completely normal and they cut everything out of it and now I go back and watch the movie and learn about what happened to these people, which will go through like the actual people, what happened to them in their lives. But it's just such a dingy corner of movie making where like so much good yet so much bad came out of and just
Mm-hmm.
like the
Mm-hmm.
terrible bad actors that were working, not actual actors but bad human beings that were working in like this part of the industry and how they got these things made, because all of these people in these movies are, I'm not going to call them good actors, but they're trying. and like there's effort being put in. And I don't think the casting was done by throwing darts at a dartboard. Like there was some good casting calls made in this movie and some like things that I like, but the vehicle, as like from where it's coming from, the vehicle that's being used and how it's being shown, it's just obviously a man's power fantasy, right? Even though it shows itself front facing as a female power fantasy, it's not. It is obviously a male power fantasy.
It's crazy because at the beginning of this flick, you get to watch these ladies riding this horse, and of course their village was just burned down, but like they look so cool. They've got their whole crew. They're all riding together. You have Amethea, played by Lena Clarkson. She gets asked, "What are you guys?" Or she gets asked, "Like, are you guys friends with the King Arcor?" And she's like, "No, we hate him." And she gives this cool, like, amazing speech that you're like, oh, this movie's gonna be cool. It's gonna have like such great things. She goes, I'll be no man's slave and no man's whore, and if I can't kill them all, God knows I tried. And that's the coolest shit. Like you hear that, and I'm like, oh man, okay,
Both
we're
me
gonna
and Deborah went, yeah,
like it was
we're
so
like, all right.
cool, and it was like easily one of the better parts of the movie because I was like, this is gonna be rad. She's gonna go, she's gonna fight, and then we immediately find out that she's not like she's skilled. Don't get me wrong, she's a warrior, but she's not like that skilled. You know what I
Nobody
mean?
in this
Like
movie
they
is.
make it very clear. Like the river on the river, she does great, right? So they give you that hope that it's real. She's like, okay, we're gonna go save him. We've tricked the men by having someone be like, I'm the beautiful lady who's mysterious and just wants
Right.
to speak to you, and then everyone else is sneaking around back and fighting everybody. Like it's cool, and you're like, okay, cool. They really are gonna go in on this. It's gonna be like the female death squad that comes in and saves everyone, and then they get to the actual city and it just peters out immediately to like, we need the dudes to save us, bring in the gladiators.
So if you were a teenager and you watched this without all of the gang, without all the rape and nudity, you could see why I liked it, because it was just like nonstop fighting, right? Like and espionage and nonstop fighting and like barbarian queens, and it was like, oh, this is awesome. Boy, I probably should have never rewatched this. I still love it. I will never not love it, and the fact you own the VHS is amazing. And because I don't have it,
man.
I have it on Betamax.
Yeah, I'll show it. It's over my shoulder here.
Oh, it's so good.
This is a Vestron. It's funny you brought up Vestron because this is a Vestron. This is the. I mean, look at that cool cover. It really is cool. You can't
that
say
cover
anything.
art is done by an artist named Boris Vallejo, and Boris Vallejo does amazing fantasy art, but he does it all in that style. It's a lot like Frank Franzetta, right? In that really like Conan-y kind of style of art like that. But yeah, that's what sells the movie to me. Like that's to me that box is
it's so cool looking. It's just it's awesome. It's very like, and this is the thing. We're gonna go back to the story here. Is that when we look at that cover art and that cool picture where it depicts these women looking just super badass, right? Yeah, they're scantily clad, but they still look badass. It's not like they don't look like warriors. How can you give me that picture and then make me have to watch every single one of them basically be raped? Like, come on.
All of them.
It is all of them, right? It's not one of them got out of it.
I don't think so. I think it's all of them, man.
Yeah, I the only one who I wasn't sure about was the lady with the 80s hairstyle who was running around yelling someone's name, but it sounded like she was saying hair mess, which was making me laugh really hard. In the beginning of the movie, she's got her hair all pushed back, and it sounded like she was running around going, hair mess, hair mess. Anyways, so yeah, they get saved by the dudes eventually, and I get so lost because I'm like, oh, female empowerment. And I'm like, no, that wasn't it, because they all got raped, and like some of them got revenge, but not all of them did.
No, no.
And ultimately, like
there's nobody was better for that experience. It was just terrible for everyone. It was 10 times worse. The guys had to sit around and hit each other with sticks, and the women got raped. Give me the stick, man. Cool.
Yeah, right. Like they were like, "Ooh, we're killing each other," but like they didn't look like they were killing each other that bad.
No, they weren't doing anything of the sort.
Also, like,
why would you have a fighting? Anyways, we won't talk about that right now. But where the arena was is the dummish. Why would you do that? You got to keep him in a cage. What are you doing?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Okay, let's talk about Amethea's sister for a second. That was Taramis, right? The one who I thought was getting screamed at as
Yeah,
Hermes. I bring her up because her story is the most. Well, it changes, right? She gets taken immediately. She's the one who's raped in the first like minute, and she clearly has, she's in shock. She's got some things going on, and it looks like they're trying to sell it as she's decided to just go with the easy version and power and go with Arcor, right?
right. Yeah.
And so she asks like, hey, let me be with you, and he's like, okay, sure, you're younger than my last.
So weird, right?
Kick her
Gross.
out. Yes, you've got you now. And then all of a sudden she's basically his right hand slave. I don't know what else, like why
So
she's with him everywhere.
Taramis and this
Hmm.
character that was written after this is how lazy Cohen the is Queen Taramis from what's his name? It's part of the Conan series. But
Okay.
anyways,
Okay. Oh,
this
okay.
is
So
her.
directly.
She becomes the barbarian queen of her own later. She's the dark barbarian queen though, because she's all messed up from this. She just wants to go home.
Yeah, and then she gets told there's no home.
Mm.
In one of the only like truly emotional moments of the movie, I feel like it didn't really hit in that way, but it was
Nope.
played that way. I can understand, like, so her having those emotions makes sense to me, right? Like, this is a very traumatic experience. Something happens in your brain. Yeah, sure, okay.
Right.
But like then having her also be the only one who ends up killing Arcor at the end, the one who went like, it was
She
like,
got
okay,
she got behind enemy lines, man.
I know, it's like, is that, I'm conflicted on the message here because sure, she ultimately, the one who is done wrong immediately, is the one who gets revenge at the end,
Mm-hmm.
and that's good. But to me, the idea that she's the only one who can do it, because she was also the one who decided not to directly fight men, but to be
Right.
like underhanded, and underhanded, it's not really the word I want to say here, but like
Maybe she's the rogue.
yeah, I don't know. So her story was interesting to me because it's the one that deviated from I'm just gonna go fight him to I have to figure out a plan now because we got captured because we didn't fight him as well as we'd hoped we would.
Right.
She went, I'm gonna go a different route.
She didn't really seem like the fighter, right? She was down by the river picking flowers. I think she was the
Hmm.
soft one.
Hmm. She, do you think that like her not killing Arcor earlier was a decision that she made and she's like, I have to wait for the perfect dramatic timing? Or was it literally just when it was like, it's either him or my sister, I have to choose one now?
I think that not that much thought was put into the writing of this script.
Okay, all right, I can accept that answer too. That's a good answer. See,
Yes, she had to wait for the perfect time because that's when the movie ends.
yeah, like,
Well,
well,
yes, she had to wait for the perfect time.
we need
That
a
is
real quick
exactly 1 hour and 17 minutes into the movie.
lows to lows so we can get this final killing, and then everyone celebrates an immediate credit roll. Immediate.
Don't give people a chance to think. Move them out of the theater immediately.
Get them out, get them out, get them out. I mean, okay, so like there is a lot of I'm skipping over a lot of parts of the story because frankly,
Now, Cat Shay, we're in the
okay.
characters now. I
Hmm.
want to talk about her. We're gonna go through these actors. We ain't gonna have nothing good. I can talk about Victor Bowe, and I will. You didn't put him down as one of the characters, but Victor Bowe was one of the actors in this that is actually worth talking about.
What was he, the guy with the handlebar mustache?
Yes,
Okay, all right.
Victor Bowe's amazing. Cat Shay, who was Estrid, became kind of a good director in Hollywood after this.
Shoot, okay.
She did Poison Ivy with Drew Barrymore, if you remember that film.
I
Yeah,
didn't see it, but I've seen the
she's
case.
cool. Yeah,
Okay,
she ended up
okay.
doing cool stuff. That's about it though. Lana Clarkson, I'll let you talk about that later. But yeah, she went on to do something, and it's terrible.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. And we'll talk about it. The reason I didn't write down too many of these, and we're talking about our show doc here, if you're listening, is because I couldn't for the life of me remember any of their names. I don't feel
No.
like it ever made a point to actually give me names
Well,
besides
there's
Argon.
Barbarian Queen, and then the
Mm-hmm.
people around Barbarian Queen,
Mm-hmm. I mean, I really thought when they
and
were
then the
yelling
guy that
Terabis,
looked
they were
like the
yelling
guy
Hermes.
from Looks like the guy from Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
Every time he came on the screen, I started going,
Oh
hum shabwa,
gosh,
hum
like
shabwa,
you
hum shabwa.
you
Soon
can't.
Kalema rule the world.
Why even include this dude in that dress if you're not going to actually like go
He's not
full
going
in
to rip
on it?
somebody's heart out, right?
Like, yeah, like, are you just like you're like I'm gonna be casually racist right now, and that's it. There's no good to come of it because if you're gonna do it, at least like make it cool, you know. But instead, it's like
No.
I am the
How?
manager of the brothel. Ha
Oh, that guy?
But we're talking about different guys, aren't we?
Yeah. I was talking about the guy that was like the big bad guy.
Oh, Arcor.
He
Yeah.
looked
Okay.
just like the priest
Mhm.
from the Temple of Doom, right? The guy that rips people's hearts
Duh.
out.
Duh.
Like they
Okay.
could be brothers. They could be twin brothers. No, the fella in the oh my goodness gracious. That's a whole oh god. I'm
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
glad he
Yeah.
gets stabbed.
Yeah. It's just when he pops out, he's like, "No, you've still got no appetite."
Whoa!
And I'm just like, oh, you have to stop. Like, we cannot be like I've watched like 3 rapes already. You cannot start throwing the racism at me now too.
It was so bad, dude.
It didn't make any sense either. He was so out of
Oh,
place
it
in this
made
whole entire
all the
thing.
sense in the world when you watch this movie.
Okay, so that was the brothel scene, and I'm not even gonna get into the brothel or any of this because what's the purpose, you know?
It
But
was a set piece that was used to show how the women, while incapable of getting to the men in any other way than being used as sexual objects.
okay, see, there you go. Well, that does make sense.
It's about the abuse of the women. Let's not kid ourselves. Every part about this movie is about abusing these women.
Well,
Every
because
part of it.
even the male slaves, right? The barbarians, the gladiators, if
They're
you
having a
will,
good time. They get
they
unlimited free food and women.
they give them the women, and I'm just like, okay, why is this cruel society that's creating slaves out of every single person they meet? They're like, we're gonna send you off to fight to your death, but you know what?
Right.
Here you go. This thing that we apparently make money on, and I have to imagine is all city-based decisions. Is like I'm gonna waste the whole entire night by giving it free to the other slaves. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on, Cohen. Make it realistic.
They had very little time. They had to get the movie done, and they, you know, what scenes they spent
Yeah.
time and
Yeah.
money on, right? Like
Yeah, I
they
do.
made it very clear.
So we'll talk about that scene. No, we'll talk about it now. We'll talk about it in a couple different areas, I'm pretty sure. Let's talk about the torture scene of Amethea, right? Because Amethea is unwilling to submit and give in to the ideas, just like Astrid. And just like the other one, I'm spacing your name, Tiniara. She's the
Mhm.
hair lady.
She's the one that that directed Poison Ivy.
Cat Shay is the one who dies because she won't submit, and she frees her hands, and then she gets stabbed.
Thank
And
goodness.
it was like they had to kill her because her and Amethea actually probably could have had a fighting chance against these dudes and not needed men's help. So they kill her, and they're like, now you for sure need the dude's help, right?
Yeah.
Because strong lady didn't live. Strong lady didn't live.
Strong lady. I think in the credits that's what it's her name dash strong lady. Yeah.
So Amethea, she doesn't give in.
Well, that's what happens when you're an actual competent female, right? Men will kill you because they would rather kill you than compete against you, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And that makes sense.
And that shows you for stepping up. How dare you?
Mm-hmm. Like they were accused of being rebels, and they weren't the rebels. They were the barbarians coming to free their people, while the rebels were like, we want to free our people.
They were serfs and villagers, and like, yeah, Barbarian Queen, her village seemed a little different, but all the rest of the villages just seemed like villagers.
Yeah. And even
that
like
guy's missing an arm and an eye, so obviously he's been into some stuff, but
you have to wonder, how do you lose an eye like that and not die when it's the swords and stuff that are coming at you? Anyways, this is not important.
The lore is very important.
Amethea, so she ends up in a torture rack by the goofiest looking torturer, which, again, just get your tone right. guys, because you can't make this guy look that goofy and then have him just be the ultimate creep, right? He made his
His
own.
costume was kind of fantastic. That was the
Oh
problem.
yeah,
See,
it was
that's the
so
problem with
funny.
these movies and me, though, is a lot of the practical effect
Hmm.
kind of stuff like that actually looks really cool, but in the
Hmm.
context they're using it in, it's like, God damn it,
Like okay, if
because
I'm
that guy
making that
looked kind of cool.
if I'm making that costume right, and I'm making this character, he has to be like an insider. You know what I mean? Working with them to like, he's like, okay, we're just gonna pretend you get tortured here. I made this cool glove thing that tickles your nipple, and then you're like, ow, that hurt, and then you get out. But instead, they made him a creep
What
because
was the point of the torture device? I didn't. Was it just a really pointy glove?
it was a metal glove that touched your nipple. I don't know. That was like that seemed to be all it was. And then if you move too much, your ropes get tighter, and then the tighter your ropes are, the more it touches your nipples. So it's like a feedback loop that makes you get
So it was just straight BDSM.
yeah, pretty
Okay.
much.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
and then you know,
More male power fantasy
yeah, which the way he dies,
is the best thing in the movie. It's the best part of the movie.
it absolutely is, and it's the least believable part of the movie, but like it doesn't matter at this point, and it is the funniest thing that you'll hear. But it occurs during a rape, and
God damn it. Fuck. Can't do this.
yeah, I'm just you got it. I'm gonna keep it on the rail
Power
here.
through.
It occurs during a rape, and he
Penetration is
dies.
happening.
Yeah, penetration is happening. He's talking about, I haven't finished yet, and then she squeezes him with her. I just assume Kegels, and I think she just squeezes his dick right
Removes
off.
his member and then
Yeah,
kicks him into a vat of acid.
while she's strung up to a torture table, getting raped.
Mm-hmm.
So like I don't, hey, anatomy, me, we don't necessarily like. I'm not an expert here, but that is intense
You don't know.
use.
Barbarian Queen.
Yeah, Barbarian Queen, man. She like Death by Snoo Snoo. That whole Futurama episode is probably kind of vaguely, loosely based on this, except for like from the other perspective, where it's the
If they
dudes who are
would have
getting
put
tortured.
more ridiculous violence in it like that, this movie would have been way more passable because then I would have known what I was
Hmm.
watching.
Hmm. And that's the thing I kind of want to get down to is like it doesn't take itself seriously. I want to be clear about that. It doesn't take itself very seriously, but it keeps using these like heinous acts to move it forward. It's like
Well, to
comedy or the cool
justify the
things.
whole, it's the justification of the whole movie,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's the vehicle from what the car that is this movie runs on rape.
Yeah. 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 I mean, there you go. That's the whole thing. And
You can put that on the back of the box. Adam's review.
the car that makes this movie run is rape. And it's accurate is the thing. So the question becomes like, how can you have these two separate tones? Because I can imagine without the rape, this movie is a lot different and it is more upbeat and like
It's damn near funny because it's ridiculous,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Um, and there's a world in which you could actually do this movie a la fucking Braveheart or something where it's not. It makes like you're not making light of certain things in this world. I'll say it's just part of the times, and this is not one of those things. I just never will. Never. It's never been okay. It'll never be okay. And so when you put something like that into a movie, and the movie isn't a serious movie, and you're making light of it, like I don't even like it in movies where it's like serious, like fucking kids, man. I remember I saw that movie when I was like young, like right when it came out,
Mm-hmm.
the Harmony
Mm-hmm.
Korman film,
Yeah.
and like that shit messed me up. Like it's not funny. There's no humor in it, and I think that movie was a good way to portray it, like it's the most disgusting thing you could possibly do. And in
Mm-hmm.
this movie, it's just like they might as well be saying, "Oh, he hit her," "Oh, they raped her." Like it's nothing, like it's
It
just
is just
par for
movie.
the
Yeah.
course. Now, it's just you could, and I'm not even saying tastefully, but you could make a movie that shows this part of history in a way where you're showing respect to the people that these things are happening to. But when you use it as the vehicle for your film to tie up loose ends and to create anger, and like that's the only thing you have
Mm-hmm.
going, that's your fuel. Like, quit being so gross.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Because I was constantly, I had the thought in the back of my head. It's like with a lot of these movies, when you're showing off like the boobs and everything all the time, right? They're supposed to like
They
be
don't
enticing or
even that
exciting.
much though. You know,
I
the one thing is it's all tease, right? Which is great. I like that, but it's not. Once again, while something like Russ Meyer's films are fun and playful in the right ways, this movie is, here's boobs in the most traumatic way possible, right? It like
Yeah,
makes you not, you're like, please stop. Please put clothes on these people.
it's almost akin to something like I Spit on Your Grave, but without the seriousness that they treat the matter with, or like the stark just
This is
violence
what
of it
I'm
all.
saying. Like, I Spit on Your Grave, still a movie that is difficult to
Mm-hmm.
ingest, but at least you can respect that movie from the point that it's not trying to be tongue in cheek about it, right?
It is
Like,
very brutal, and it's like you're getting
do
revenge
you
on
know
people
about
who
the
did a
box
very
art
brutal
for
act.
that movie?
I've seen the box art, but I don't know the
Do you
story
know
behind
about
it.
it? You know? So this box art, this is I Spit on Your Grave.
Mm-hmm.
And that person on the front was not in this movie. You know who that is?
Who?
That is a 17-year-old Demi Moore.
Oh,
How gross do you feel now? Isn't that
well, no,
gross?
it's not great. Well, how? Okay,
Isn't that messed up though? These
it kind
people
of,
making these movies, somebody needs to look into what they were doing.
dude. The I Spit on Your Grave, and then I Spit on Your Movie. Essentially, well, who knows, man. There were a lot of people. I mean, like this is the
I mean,
'80s.
and also trust me, it's not like, I mean, let's be honest about the kind of movies that Adam has in his world, okay? Like,
Mm-hmm,
I'm
mm-hmm,
not a saint. Like,
mm-hmm.
I have Zombie Holocaust on VHS. Like, I'm not a saint. I like bad movies. I do.
No, and it's not about being a saint. It's just about whether or not you're making a movie that's cohesive, right? Like I think that rape is one of those things. We've talked about this. I talked about this with Andrew earlier because we noticed, like, of course, there's a strong tendency to show rape in a lot of movies, because it's a very traumatic thing that doesn't necessarily kill someone. Instead, it leaves them with the scars, right? And this
Immense power
movie,
dynamic, right? Like,
yeah, yeah.
it's violence,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah.
It's violence in a less finite, more resonant
Very,
way.
very real, very permanently damaging way.
Mm-hmm.
You would rather be physically hurt because at least that heals,
Yeah.
right?
And so when you go into that, when you decide you're going to show that, right, to then have the adventure movie aspects of this movie just feel so out of place, and then to have all of the exploitation parts of this movie just be so
Honestly,
gross.
brother, the exploitation, like, if you just took that stuff out of it and just used the corny battle stuff and some random boobs bouncing around, this movie's fine. I like it.
Oh my gosh,
You know, it's
so
such a
much
good
better,
movie.
so much better.
And that's how I remember it.
And this makes sense to me because, like,
It
seriously,
was
when
like an
they're
adult Willow,
I
when I was
just
a kid.
I can't explain the tone difference that happened between her saying that I'll be no man's slave and no man's whore, and then immediately going into a scene where a brutal gang rape kills a lady, even though they save her, and is not treated with the reverence it needs. But that is what it is showing me, and so that's what I'm digesting at the same time. Where it's like, it's
And now
okay,
I
we're gonna
can
move on.
understand that there was probably a reality in which this is the case, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, this isn't that reality.
No.
You're just tacking this in here to be cruel to women.
Yeah,
That's it.
exactly. Exactly. I guess that's the thing, is like the only way you're like,
It's a male power fantasy wrapped up in a female power dynamic, right? And
mhm.
like, that's what I said earlier. I'll say it again. It is a male power fantasy wrapped up in boobs. but women are powerful and boobs. This is, of course, it's fine. No, it's not. It just abject abuse throughout the entire movie. I wish they would have killed everyone. Everyone deserved to die. They were all morally fucking corrupt.
100%. Gosh, man, Kegel death though, that. It was inventive, and I'll give him that. You know
There
what I
are
mean?
now we've I think as two white men we have made our point that we do not like that in our movies. Beyond that, there are some fantastic things that happen in this movie that are why I watch bad movies, right? It hits some of those key points so well. Just the things I like in terrible movies, this does very well a few different times. Now, it wasn't some of these movies just hit all the way through and you're just like, this is awesome. But like this movie, it was few and far between, but like some of this stuff slapped, dude.
Well, okay, let's talk about that. Let's go into the characters for real. Okay, so you have Elena Clarkson as Amethea, Kat Shea as Estrilled, Frank Zagarino as Argon. It is a good name. Don Dunlap as Taramis, Susanna Traverso as Tiniara, and Armando Capo as Archer. I listed these guys out. I would be shocked if you remembered all their names by the end of the film, but you know they are worth mentioning.
Right.
And you had one more. Please hit me with his name.
Victor Bow. He played Strymon.
Thank you. And there are other actors in this movie, so you know, go look it up. I promise you, you'll find something good in there.
Victor Bow also played Kang in Deathstalker.
Okay. So that's where I've seen this guy before. The handlebar mustache and extremely shiny head is very familiar. And he's really short. So I don't know if it's realistic or if it's just next to these dudes. I don't know how tall these people really are, but that's just the
that guy's actually a fairly handsome man, but he's older in this movie.
Okay.
But when he was younger, he did some very interesting things that we'll talk about later.
I'm going to ask you this question as a carte blanche. I'm going to remove Amethea. And are there any characters that stood out in this movie to you?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Right. A few of the character pieces they did that were outrageously bad. The brothel master, he stood out to me. The torture guy, he stood out to me. The guy with the beard in the very beginning that looked like a warlock, he stood out to me. His beard was sweet. But in like any real way, no.
I did appreciate that they showed the guy with the beard getting killed.
Yeah.
So that way you knew where he ended. Like it wasn't just he's just part of the crowd. It was like, no, he died. So don't worry about him.
I was like, movies like this that are fantasy movies, it's been so long since I saw it. Like I was hoping that like he was some sort of necromancer or something and they were going to like sacrifice virgins or something. Like I can get way more behind that.
It wasn't just a creepy
as a vehicle. Right? Yeah. If he wasn't just a creepy rapist in the woods, that's tough to swallow.
Oh, isn't it? Oh.
Why can't you be a necromancer that kills these people and brings them back to life? That would be so much easier for me to swallow.
Goodness gracious. Even if you just like pretended that was part of it, you know what I mean? At like some point. Like,
in my brain, it's canon now, just happened.
Yeah. Like,
there it is.
I think that like Argon as a character was pretty devoid of identity, and this is the male gladiator that they all need to save him, that Amethea was going to get married to. He was pretty devoid of identity. However, he was very physically imposing.
Everybody in this movie was fit.
Yeah.
Except for the brothel master.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, I was watching a lot of the choreography for the fights, right? And I will. There were moments where it was really good. I think extras and the background people did better than most of the main actors, which is probably pretty standard for
So
a lot of
what's
these films.
hilarious is me and Deborah did the same thing. I kept
Mm-hmm.
rewatching just so I could. It's like a Where's Waldo,
Yeah.
like or like a Sergio Angari's drawing, but just like watching all the people in the background doing their choreographed fight moves, And I was like, "Did you ever do like stage fighting in theater class?" And I was like, "This is it. This is."
Yeah, 100%. I will say Lana Clarkson, right? Amethea. I don't think that she had any real sword fighting skills based on what I was seeing. However, she was very enthusiastic about it.
She could jump off a roof and kick some ass in a river, though.
She was swinging that sword like you'd swing a baseball bat to try to hit a home run over and over again. And I think just the physicality of it sold it for me. Even like I don't know enough about sword
I mean,
fighting.
that's
Maybe
how a
she was okay,
barbarian would
but
fight, right?
exactly. Like I was like, okay, well, she's definitely doing the thing that makes me feel like she could fight in that way. She looks like she's more energetic than everyone else, and that's what's working for her. Whereas everyone else was kind of just like they
I
were
give a
winning.
lot of flexibility to fantasy combat
Mm-hmm.
scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
It is very hard to do them well, also very expensive to do them well. They didn't have the kind of money to make that into anything that it should have been. They just didn't have at the time. Like Mad Max and Conan were really big. They didn't have that. Like Mad Max got its second round of funding money for Beyond Thunderdome, and like Conan got Red Sonja put through, and like Corman and Cohen didn't have that kind of money.
And even if they did, they would have used it somewhere else.
Well, they probably just, yeah, the next plane of
Pocket.
cocaine they're
Yeah,
sending back to the United States from
exactly,
Argentina.
exactly. Past that, I did like Tinyara, the lady with the '80s hair. Um, I thought that actually she did a pretty good job at playing this. Like, I'm not the fighter, but I still have use in this group character. And she ends up being the one who like bridges the gap between the barbarians and the Amethea. She's kind of she plays a pretty good role. I liked her character just in general as someone who wasn't fighting but was providing something. I did think that she had one of the funnier lines in the movie when she tries to save, and this is exactly it. The tone is just so off for me. When she tries to save the lady who was strung up and getting raped by all those dudes, and she can't save her. She dies in her arms, but she's talking to Amethea and she says, "I gave her water."
That
And then
muddy river water.
yeah, and then Amethea says, "You did what you could." like,
They just left her laying there.
like she didn't try anything. She just gave her some water and said, "Yeah, you didn't respond to that. See ya." Uh,
Mm-hmm.
which in a movie that you had portrayed more as a comedy, unless as a rape vehicle, this could have been a wonderful opportunity
The
to really
vehicle's
make people
not
laugh.
rape. The rape is the fuel that runs
Oh,
the
okay,
vehicle.
okay, all right, all right, all right. Fair. Okay, that's
The
fair.
vehicle is boobs.
Um, of course, the when she gets raped, it doesn't even make that much sense to be like, aha, there's a lady, and we're gonna take her to she's gonna be a brothel lady, but we gotta test the goods first. It's like, why? Just what is going on right now?
It's exactly what they wanted it to say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's
Okay,
what's
so that's
problematic. Obviously.
and that's basically it for the characters for me because the rest are pretty simple. Like our core is
They
like,
so take people from the beach in the 80s,
mm-hmm,
like South California beaches who got nice beach bodies and very little acting skill. Send them to Argentina and tell them they're barbarians. That is who the cast was.
mm-hmm, yeah, sounds accurate. I did hear that they cast like a lot of wrestlers.
Sure, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so they were like Argentinian wrestlers. So a lot of the
Really?
background, yeah, were
I didn't
actually
know about that.
Argentinian
Oh,
wrestlers. That's how I think that might have been the only people they could find who both could perform and also were buff as all hell in Argentina.
dude, that makes
So,
perfect sense.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And when you think about that, like good for those Argentinian wrestlers. Um,
Yeah, they were one of the best parts of the movie.
the background fighting was just some of the good stuff. And like, okay, so another character that I feel like was there for character
I love
development.
sword fighting. I love stage combat. I think it's funny. I love to watch it. I get into it like I'm watching sports, like, and
Mhm.
it's corny. It's like, but I like it. I do.
I will say the background fighters fought better in this than they did in The Dark Knight Rises.
Sure, yeah. Much better. I think some of those dudes were really hitting each other, though.
Yeah, well, they didn't control their extras very well, as you see by the one time you see a wiener in the flick, and that's in the one of the extras in the background during the brothel
Which is
barbarian
not
prostitute
something that
scene.
is allowed to be seen on. Had that have been caught, that would be a rated X movie.
Yeah, but he's just running past and
So
his just
you
dongs
have
out.
your VH. Did you watch the VHS that you
Yep.
have? Because
Hmm.
it wasn't on what I watched.
Yeah,
So
it was
you
on the
you have
VHS I have.
you have what's called the uncut version. You have the
Oh, I
original
sure do.
VHS
You're
tape.
exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You have
and
the
that's
version with Dong.
and it is brief, but
I
it is
wonder what
there.
else I got. I wonder what else I missed
Well,
on
if they
with
included
the.
all the rapes, it's hard to
How
believe
many
what they got
minutes
rid
was
of.
yours?
75.
Yeah, it's exactly the same. So they probably just cut out Dong.
The rest of this good, but cut out that guy running across right there. And to be fair, it was a pretty unuseful part of the movie that they kept showing is just the background scenes. But yeah, so that was cool. I do like when they cast Argentinian wrestlers. That's always good. I think if you cast Argentinian wrestlers in your film, that's probably going to end up being a positive of the movie.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Can't hurt.
I don't really have much else to say about the characters in this flick. Do you?
There's nothing. It's not a character study at all.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
completely this movie. It's God. I wish it didn't add the gross things that it did. But this movie is unapologetically exactly what it is. There's no. The writing in this movie isn't a character development whatsoever. It should have just been a vehicle for fantasy violence, right?
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
a redemption in fantasy violence. Like that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see Dolph Lundgren He-Man, like let me have it.
Yeah. Instead, they kind of get too weird with it. They get a little bit too rapey with it.
It was obviously written for a certain kind of adult back then, and we keep going back to these certain scenes but I'm not going to take away that when I was 14-year old and I saw this movie without those scenes, that I very much enjoyed this movie. So there's some good things to it. So do I throw the baby out with the bathwater because of those scenes? Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I will still someday own the VHS. It is gorgeous. I love it. It is. You can't ignore movies like this because they expose fundamental flaws in a lot of things that happened in Hollywood and like mistakes that get made over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those things is the humorization of serious topics, right? Like, and then people are like, "Oh, you just can't take a joke." There's just certain things that aren't funny, and they should never made to be as such, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
anyways, but like, would you say that Clockwork Orange is a bad movie?
No.
No, not at all. It's a good movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's worse than what happens in this movie.
Worse.
Yeah, they show it.
Yeah.
They show it, and they show the woman being abused. This movie doesn't show that; it just implies it.
I feel like the implication is more cowardly.
Of course, it is. But they
Like-
couldn't show. See, in this movie, though, one of the rules about making these movies is it couldn't be there couldn't be sexual act. So you never saw anybody having sex in this movie. That wasn't allowed. Nudity, breasts were allowed. Genitals were not allowed. Sex was not allowed. Implication was allowed, but part of making these movies through the government thing is they could not actually show anything. So yeah, one, of course they're cowards, but two, they couldn't even if they wanted to, but they wouldn't have shown that anyways. Like that would,
No,
it
like
was already dark enough, and I think that's the problem. Maybe they should have shown it because then it would become a very dark film. But yeah, I comedy. Like, was there any part of this movie that was like supposed to be funny? Do you think?
it's hard for me to tell if it was supposed to be funny or if it just ended up being that way because
I think it
of
was just
various.
bad.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's hard for me to tell the difference sometimes because there's so many movies now that are like
No,
bad to be funny, you know.
this movie is one of the clear cut bad because it's bad
Yeah.
movies, right? And like I don't think we keep saying tongue in cheek. I think that they were being absolutely genuine when they made this movie that it was a fantasy period piece, right? Obviously they were snorting something in the jungle and making very bad decisions, and obviously these were chauvinists who made this movie. But I think we were supposed to take it more seriously than because obviously it's ridiculous, right? But like, yeah, I don't know. Nowhere does it say comedy.
Um. Okay, let me ask you about this character. The rebel leader with the eye patch dude.
Mhm.
And his daughter. Do they have any values? Because like they're probably the most wholesome characters, right? They're just trying to fight over this like evil regime.
I think if
And
they would have made the movie about those people, it probably would have been a much better
gosh,
movie.
I think it would
They
have been
probably
way
had a
more
better
interesting.
story.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because it's so thrown around just like uselessly, you know, like oh we are the ones who maintain the tunnels and we're the reason you guys are going to get tortured, but
right,
also we don't really do anything until the final battle when you guys really need
right,
us, and we're going to protest because I'm protecting you. But then you tell me about how your mom wouldn't want it that way, so I give in and I agree. So there's like character development happening there, but it's to characters we don't know anything about and don't do anything else.
right.
Which is a weird
Um,
way to make a movie, is to make your characters that develop be the people you don't look at ever.
yeah. Mhm.
Again, I get why they. I agree with you, but just I'm gonna air my frustrations. Let's.
I'm gonna make you watch. Probably not with all. I don't know. I can't promise because I haven't seen these movies in a long time. But you're not getting away from this style of movie. We will watch more of them. Hopefully, we find better things that aren't as bad because I've got a stack of them and I want to go through them again, like the Sword and the Sorceress and like Etor, the Fighting Eagle, and She, and there's like all these movies I want to go through. So I hope they're not. I hope as a kid they didn't. I hope it's not all. I hope it's just not rape all the
No,
way down.
we'll find the
It's like
diamonds.
Turtles all the way down, but it's not Turtles.
Yeah, we'll find the diamonds. I am sure that not as many of them were just based solely around violence
I'm
against women.
worried now.
Okay, fair. Let's just move off the characters. I'm gonna move on to our next
Yeah,
little
no
section
need.
here.
Yeah.
5 things you likely did not know. And Adam, since you chose this flick, you get to go first here. So Adam, hit me.
All right. So, obviously, we've been talking about Mr. Howard Cohen during this and his choices in writing. And so many movies he's done like this, a dozen probably in that ballpark. And I have a lot of them. And I really like this style of writing. I want more fantasy movies in the world. I really like fantasy. Wizards are even better, but they just don't make a lot of those movies. Um, this guy also did 2 other writing assignments, right? And so when I guess in the 80s we had televisions and you get cartoons over the air, and this guy wrote 2 of those. Could you guess what one? Do you think it's like Thundar the Barbarian or like something like that? No, he wrote Rainbow Bright and the Care Bears.
Um, Adam, can I ask you?
Yeah,
Were the
it's so awesome.
Care Bears well known for their violence against female Care Bears?
Yeah, not female characters. What were the animal ones that weren't Care Bears? There was like the elephant and the lion and the like. You remember like the really tense like racial and gang rape scenes with those guys though? Yeah, I think it was third season.
I definitely do not, but this is okay. Good. All right. Good for
Yeah,
you,
I know.
Hyatt.
He stayed pretty tight to his formula.
Rainbow Bright and Care Bears definitely.
Two of the sweetest children's
Yeah,
cartoons ever
yeah.
made that just taught you great things about humanity and how to love each other and use the power of your heart to like make good things happen. And he was writing this movie at the same time he was writing that, by the way.
So I think he just had one of those like psychotic breaks. He was writing something
No,
that's
I
so
think
sweet, so kind.
he just couldn't handle it.
He just couldn't handle it, so he went the exact opposite way. He's like, I just need something that is really going to hurt everybody's feelings right now, but I'm also going to do it in the style of film that we make. You know?
Anyways, Rainbow Bright and Care Bears are fantastic. So I'm glad this man existed because I do very much like both of those cartoons, especially Rainbow Bright. I think Rainbow Bright is phenomenal.
Okay, for my next fact, I'm going to bring up Lena Clarkson. She's the actress that played Amethea, if you haven't got that yet. So she was shot to death in 2003 by Phil Spector.
Mm-hmm.
Just as a coincidence, I want to point out that within the last couple weeks of us creating this podcast here, Marky Ramone of all people has said that he believes that Phil Spector did not kill her with intent. I don't know what prompted Marky Ramone to come out of nowhere and say this years and years and years and years later after Phil Spector died, but Marky Ramone, shut up.
What the fuck? No. I don't think he meant to do it. I mean, he killed her, but I don't think he did. There was no intent.
The
Thanks, Marky.
defense, yeah, the defense that I heard is that she was attempting to kiss his gun. It's not. I'm laughing, but I shouldn't laugh. It's really messed up. Phil Spector
It's
is, of course,
screwed up. Phil Spector is
a
screwed up,
ridiculously
dude.
famous music producer. He worked with the Beatles. He worked with all of basically Motown in the '60s. He created the Wall of Sound. If you know anything about music at that time, you know about Wall of Sound. And Lena Clarkson, I feel like in the articles that I was looking at, her career was wickedly downplayed. They called her a budding comedian, and she was like 40 years old, and she'd been in a bunch of movies already. Yeah, I
She,
just
as from the time, like seriously, like she was a kind of a well-known actress. She was in like, I mean, she wasn't in Oscar films, but she was around.
yeah, right. And so looking it up, it's just the movie is encapsulated in the way she died a little bit because she died where the violence against women is just used as a way to excuse the power that men have.
Yeah.
You
Phil
know,
Spector.
Phil Spector.
Crazy when I was watching this last night and Deborah brought that up and I'm like, that and it like all clicked and I was like, oh my god,
Mm-hmm.
like that's right. Oh, like this was a good pick, man. Some
Mm-hmm.
good stuff going on.
Hit me with your next one, Adam.
I laugh because it's anxiety, you know.
Yeah, you can't say the right things for this stuff sometimes.
James Horner, okay, he was the gentleman that did the soundtrack, put together the soundtrack for this movie. You know what other soundtracks he developed?
No, I don't.
Titanic, Avatar, Braveheart, and 109 other films.
That's crazy. So he got connected with James Cameron in the '90s and just said, "I'll never let you go," just like Jack said it to the
That
person.
guy went on to have an actual career. Yeah, so good for him.
Which is wild because
Applaud.
I don't really remember the music in this movie particularly
Just
well.
really medievally tavern style background music and then crescendos during violent parts, but it was all that generic medieval type music, even though it was a barbarian film. It was like very 1500s style music.
However, yeah, good for James Horner. I do agree with that.
Yeah, he got out of there, man.
He's like, I did it, but we got to keep going. We got to keep moving. Getting attached to Braveheart was probably really important.
Yeah. He's like, I did Barbarian Queen. I know how to do a period piece.
It's like, well, just imagine this, but if you guys weren't just like super focused on all of the sexual parts, like,
it's pretty good. It's pretty much Braveheart. Tell me it's not.
Oh man. Okay. My next one is it's fun. It's just the counts. I'm just counting things that happened. So in this film, you see 46 breasts.
Mm-hmm.
That is including
Argons. Are those? This is like pants. Is you say 46 breasts? Is that each individual?
Each set is 2. So
okay.
23
so it's
people.
Like pants. It's like pants.
Yeah, and I'm definitely including Argons, just because they are very.
You should include all of the men. They had luscious.
Yeah.
Janglers.
Well, okay, but you just add 46 plus. 31 people died. There were 31 dead bodies that we saw. Mm-hmm. Heads were severed. 3 gang rapes. 2 women in chains. 1 full-on orgy. 1 wang shot. Slave girl sharing. And then 1 bird's nest bra.
Which was kind of awesome, honestly.
It's, like, if you're going to give me something from the 80s, give me that. That's cool.
Most of that stuff's kind of cool, I guess.
The context matters, I suppose, for sure. It really does.
Like, if you put that in the back of a movie box, I'd be like, But, like, until you got to the part where you're like, gang rapes. Like, before that, you're like, there's 46 boobs and all these people die. I'm like, okay, go on.
Well, you start off with the good stuff, and then by the time you're at the end, you're like, oh, no.
There was so much room for this movie to be what I wanted it to be.
Yeah, there was. I think that's one of those things, is like, it was there. It was. Yeah. Which last one you got, Adam?
All right, so let's get into some lore here. So Argentina is a place that I actually spend some time watching films from. Specifically, I started watching, and I ran into this guy through a dive I was doing on Internet Archive, right, about South American directors. There was a gentleman named Armando Bo, and Armando Bo did a lot of, like, the original exploitation movies of the 70s with Isabella Sarli. And they were, I guess they would call them horror, but they were very artistically done movies that won tons of awards. Like, this man was very popular in Argentina, a very well-respected director. His son, Victor Bo, acted in this movie. He also acted in a movie called Embrujada, Victor Bo did, which was directed by his father. And as far as, like, the Isabella Sarli movies go, that one's the best. Also, the first time that full frontal nudity was shown in an Argentinian film.
Okay.
Oh my!
I mean, but yes.
So when you're looking at this style of, like, artistic art house kind of movies, like Embrujada, like, Armando Bo was the guy who developed that in Argentina. He was, like, their, like, first, like, forward-facing, like, people that weren't afraid to, like, show things in movies. You do have to think about that, right? Like, so the movie was made in 1969, not released until 76, from what I'm seeing. So, like, it has to be some level of courage to be able to not just put that on film, but also then to try to find a way to then release it to people. The movie's a lot like Rosemary's Baby. She gets impregnated by the devil, right? And that's, like, the gist of the movie. I believe. It's been a hot minute, and anyways, I have it. They sell it on, this is what they do with a bunch of these films. They sell it on the nudity of the movie. She is nude for maybe 30 seconds in the film. Yeah. And other than that, it's just a normal film. And the film is actually quite good. Like, So for Victor Bow, who was in that doing these kind of like art house, like really kind of like cutting edge films to like, oh, we're going to do American movies in Argentina now. This was all directly his father's fault because his father was the one that got the art, we're going to start filming films in Argentina. We can give tax breaks to corporations and we can turn ourselves into like what Canada is now, right? And so that's, yeah, this movie, not only is this kid in it, but it's also his dad's fault that it got made in a really butterfly effect sort of way.
And I do want to point out, because this has always bugged me in any movies where it happens, and it happens in a lot of movies. Victor Bow, Strymon, the character, is killed by a net crack. Gosh, laziest version of death in a movie.
They break. Oh, come on, that is lazy.
Yeah, where they're just like, okay, we did all this cool fighting, we got all these cool swords, but
you couldn't even do like blood. You couldn't afford the blood effect.
Right, like you got to do Victor better than that.
The practical effects in this movie are like obviously like retractable knife level of like, corny.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wouldn't have taken much. He deserved more than that.
Let's go ahead and let's talk about it. Here's a segue. Let's talk about creativity and cinematography of this film. I will say the favorite special effect I had, the one that felt the best, was the arrow in the head, almost at the very beginning.
I did want to tell you about that though. That if you go back and you watch the film, when that arrow gets fired, he is facing it. They shoot him in the back of the head.
Well, okay. I mean, I love that. See, again, just make it a comedy, guys. Come on.
This is why I love these terrible movies, because of things like this. They fire the arrow at the back of his head, and then he goes, ah! It's so good, dude.
They don't have a continuity manager on this set. No way.
Oh, it's so good, dude. I love that one.
There's so much mascara in this movie. And I thought it was funny because like they're doing all this crazy stuff and the mascara never comes off. But then I did realize something, and I'm going to give them credit here, is they showed the paint being applied to an areola at the very beginning.
They did, yeah.
So makeup exists within this world.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there was, yeah. She didn't want it on her nose. Remember?
No.
And so there's only it's either your nose or
She's like, so I don't want that. He's like, well, here you go.
I'm gonna rub this mud on your. Thanks. Yeah. Okay.
Consent is not considered.
So that's your favorite scene in the movie is when the old man gets shot in the head.
Yeah. Yeah, it is actually.
Nice.
That we'll also talk about that, but that was my favorite piece of like special effects also, because I think the rest of the special effects and the rest of the kind of like creativity, there's some interesting moments, but the rest of it did feel pretty much like they had all this stuff already, so they were just working with what they had and making the movie fit around it.
Yes,
because like the ladies riding on the horse in the beginning,
awesome. Like the arena. Right, you have all these gladiator slaves that you're having fighting, so you just let them loose in the courtyard of the village to fight? No, that's never happened that way ever in any movie ever.
And when they're practicing in that weird pit that the king is overwatching, right? And that's a pit with stakes all around it. Like, why not just have everyone come to the pit?
Right. And where do you think they got all that baby oil? Those guys were greased up.
It had to be some. Nope, I'm not going there as a joke. We're gonna move on from that one.
Is it hog fat, you think?
It's gonna be something like that. Fat? It's gonna be nasty. Yeah. It's gonna probably be related to slavery.
Gross. Okay, move on.
Yeah. that's this whole society. Do you okay? Did any like shots or any cinematography really stand out to you as just being the moment that you could really grasp onto here? Because I think I have one, but I want to ask you first if there's anything that really just like wowed you.
When they're coming up out of the sewer into where the fabrics are being dyed, and all of those different colored fabrics that are kind of sheer, blowing in the wind, like that was an actually extremely well done shot. Like it was pleasurable to my eye holes. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Okay. That's fair.
where the
I
guys are dipping the fabrics and the dyes, and they're all blowing in the wind, and then they're all different colors, and like I thought that was kind of pleasant.
They had, I think, a couple moments where they showed a similar area, but they didn't really focus on it much. I think she also one Amethea is leaving or running away at some point. She goes through that area,
Yeah,
and it is a neat little set. I really liked the one part that I thought was shot well. Shockingly, was the river fight. The logistics of it didn't make a lot of sense to me, but I did think it was shot well. So it was like an interspersed fight with two different fights happening at the same time. A little bit off-putting. It was a little confusing, but I liked what they were going for there with Amethea and Estrid fighting at the exact same time, but Amethea was in the water and Estrid was on the land. I enjoyed the idea, and while the execution left a little bit to be desired, I thought the river fight looked cool.
it was great.
Um,
Like that's all the movie should have been, was things like that.
yeah, and again, like the logistics of someone wearing leather boots, getting all that water in their boots, and still fighting like she was, I didn't, that I'll suspend my disbelief for it. That's okay. It hurt a
Did
little
you
bit because I
notice?
was,
Did you notice the canoe they were taking upriver was metal?
I didn't.
Yeah,
I just saw the
it
logs
was
on top.
it was
I
aluminum with logs tied on the top of
love
it.
that. Vlogs really did a lot of heavy lifting there. Like,
That
'cause,
was the practical effect.
yeah, yeah. Other than that, it felt like very much like this. These are people who were they'd seen a lot of like industry
So
movies.
I'm not gonna act like I'm better than it. I loved the costumes. I loved the weapons.
Mhm.
It's all corny things. I love it. I love people in period fantasy pieces. I know Cohen's like, this is the Rome, whatever. No, it's not. It's bad guys wearing black leather, right? Like it's obviously your
Mhm.
BDSM fantasy, whatever, fine. But like, I am a sucker for this kind of sword and armor stuff, all of it. I like all of it. So like, you're going to get me to watch your movie if you put that stuff in it, regardless of how bad it is. I may be mad that I watched it, but I'll always watch it.
That's fair. There's not a whole heck of a lot of movies like this either, like you were saying earlier. I
I
would
own
say
all of them. I go
if
out of my way.
if
Like,
you haven't checked out the newest Dungeons and Dragons flick, that one was actually pretty entertaining. Um,
I think probably the movie when I was a kid that set me off hard on this kind of stuff, like Return to Oz and Willow,
mhm.
Legend,
Yeah.
um, stuff like that. Like they don't; those are few and far between. And then like Conan was great. Both of them. Red Sonja was good. Um, and then like all the way through to now, they still make the new Red Sonja is not bad. It's not good, but it's not bad. Um,
I follow. I feel like I really liked
Sometimes I
Conan.
like
Yeah.
high fructose corn syrup.
That's my issues. I really did like Conan and Conan 2, but nothing else kind of lives up to that. And I don't know whose fault that is. I really feel like Arnold Schwarzenegger's an enigma to me because I love the movies he's in. And I don't know necessarily that he's a great actor. He just has so much charisma when he acts that everything just
I've
works.
been chasing that high my whole life though.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It does. When I saw him and Wilt Chamberlain, and it made sense also in a medieval movie, it was like, okay, fine, we're good. Let's keep going.
Yeah. I'd still name so many, like when a video game has me put a character and I put
Mhm.
humongous in so many times. Humongous.
Oh man, then they still can't capture that exact feeling either. They tried so many times. Um, yeah, but like past that, going back to cinematography and creativity, there wasn't like okay,
Yes,
the
Hector directed it,
hmm
but and Cohen wrote it, but it's a Roger Corman film, and it is a Roger Corman film.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so we talked about the torture rack a little bit with the nipple torture thing, but do you think that they like just made that on the spot that day because they're like, we can't just put her on a rack, we got to figure out some other
So
way to make
here's some of
this.
the lore. That glove is from a totally different movie,
Oh,
right? It
good.
was
Okay.
made for a different movie.
Okay.
It looks really cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they tied it to a string, and now it's a torture device. But it's meant for the movie Death Stalker.
Okay,
It's
all
actually a
right.
part of armor that somebody wears, and it looks really
That
badass.
makes so much more sense because like having a nipple
Don't you
torture
love that
thing
though
doesn't.
about this? Like, yes, that was a prop piece for a different movie. They were filming at the same location, and so they just tied it to a screen, a string and had it tickle her nipple. I don't know.
I
I don't know
the
what they were doing, dude.
he explained it too. That's the messed up part is he explained it. I still don't get it.
It's so beyond our ability to comprehend that male power fantasy that was going on there that I think both of us were probably cringing. We were like, why?
What is the why did they have acid in a pool right behind them?
For the guy that get kicked into.
Yeah, oh, you're absolutely right. That is it. But I just try to think of the like practical reasons that you would put acid in a pit, and I guess like you're trying to get rid of bodies, but you could just put it in a pit that's not directly next to what
It's
you're
a
doing.
vehicle to move the plot forward, yeah. It's
Hmm.
very easy, you know.
Yeah, but the okay, so they have that vehicle,
Yeah.
but they go with Kegel penis rupture right before that.
She
Um,
couldn't have kicked him in before penetration.
yeah, I mean, no, I don't know.
So
I don't know
once
what to
again,
say.
male power rape fantasy
Yeah,
BS
it's like that part had to happen for the next part to happen because reasons.
gas. What is the
Um.
gas of this film?
Okay. So, were there any other parts that you found particularly moving?
I thought the reeds along the river when they were riding their horses that was kind of a beautiful place. A lot of the outdoor scenes, Argentina outside's beautiful.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
they had that going for them. I thought the castle set was well enough done. Obviously they used it for 10 movies, so they put a few bucks into it, not more than that though. But it was fine. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
a much better movie could have been filmed there. Um, and I would say out of this grouping of movies, that this one out of these, because I know all these movies that came out during this time, this one is most definitely the worst. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Barbarian Queen 2, which I've actually seen recently, is actually much better than this, believe it or not.
Did they have
Film
like 5 years to like figure out what went wrong here and
No,
be like, oh,
they filmed it on the same fucking set at the
okay,
same time they were making all of these movies. But this time there's an evil necromancer who's sacrificing people, and there's that from what I
God,
remember,
well, yeah, come on.
zero rape.
There's no magic in this movie basically at all.
But in the second movie, magic all of a sudden becomes because Howard Cohen once again said that this movie represented Romans taking over and blah blah blah. Whereas Barbarian Queen 2, it's very distinctly like an undead necromancer kind of situation. So he jumps his own shark, but in the best way possible. Like,
Good, good.
we'll watch Deathstalker someday. I'll redeem this guy to you in some sort of way. We're gonna hate him forever, obviously, but like,
Okay, all right. I'll just say all right because I believe that there's something to be had here if you can even if
have
you
you seen the box art for Deathstalker?
I have.
It's
And
so good. The movie has to be good. The box art is so
there's
good.
no well that's I found out that that's not true.
It's
However,
forceful.
the box art is really cool. Most of these box arts are really cool. Like I do understand what you were saying earlier about how they got these movies made is they were like make the box art really rad and the rest doesn't matter that much because people
Right.
have already given you the money to rent it. Um because like even now, if I was looking through it, I mean, you saw I purchased a movie just based on the box art. That would be one that I'd give 3 or 4 looks at. I'd be like, that looks sick. Um, and not in the ways that it ended up being sick.
Nah, disappointing.
So we'll move on from cinematography and creativity to talking a little bit about editing and pacing. Um, fight scenes when they were on long shots and they were sitting with they were pretty good. It was pretty disorienting when they started using a lot of cuts because I don't think that they had anyone there to make sure that they were occupying the same physical space that they were in before
Oh,
they cut back
absolutely
and
not.
forth.
No,
Um,
that's the
which
charm.
It is the charm. It's also a little bit disorienting, which is okay.
Make it nauseous, yeah. In the right way. Thank goodness.
Right. This is a very forgivable version of it. You know what I mean? Um, there were still a lot of moments in this movie where it just felt like what they were saying didn't actually matter. When they were
None of
talking
it
to
mattered.
the rogues or the rebels, excuse me, I just couldn't care. You couldn't pay me to care at that point because I was like, wow, this is. I feel for this guy whose arm's inside of his shirt.
They didn't do any world building. They
Not
didn't,
at all.
and that's all this movie should have been about.
Yeah, yeah. Because
Instead they're just like, right, like you could have told the whole story.
and yeah, it's very basic. It's just archetype after archetype after archetype. They throw them in there, and they're like, "Here's these rebels, and we're gonna have them whole entire emotional scenes based on a mom that's dead, and we're not
The
gonna
man,
bring the
the
viewers along with
man
this at all."
did write 10 movies in 1 year.
He got confused. He's like, "I did write the rebels," and they're like, "No, that was a different movie." He's like, "Oh crap! Well, it's too late. You have to move on." Didn't you remember that
Are those
movie?
actors still in the basement? Yeah. Okay, we're gonna put them in this scene.
Don't move them. It costs too much. You just next movie, same place, next movie. They can wear the same things. It really doesn't matter.
It didn't. It didn't matter at all.
You just release them 6 months apart, and people won't remember what's going on one way or the other. For a 75-minute movie, I still feel like they should have cut off like 20 minutes. This is where I think,
The movie I saw when I was younger
yeah,
did have 20 minutes cut off, and it was very good.
exactly. I think that the edit is
I was so
exactly what this
excited
movie
for
needed.
you to see the movie that I saw when I was 14 and how bad it was and how campy and fun it was. And then I watched it and I was like, these people are never going to speak to me again. Like,
I was just the whole time I'm like, how do I we'll get to the review part of it, but I'm like, what do I do
what if
here?
I got on here though and I was just like, best movie I've ever seen? Well, Adam, what about? And I was like, nope, great. All of it was great, non-problematic. Huge fan.
I would be
Disappointed.
concerned.
Yeah, me too.
I'm like something
I would
happened
be
here.
too, brother. I'd be
There's
super concerned.
there's a blind spot the size of a semi truck, and I don't know how to address it. Uh, I don't really have much else to say. It's not like the editing was bad, and the pacing could have been like it was a short movie, all things
The
considered. But
USA Up All Night cut is the cut.
mm,
That's what I should have made you watch. When I make you watch the Barbarian Brothers, I will give you the USA Up All Night cut.
okay, all right. That which is
I have it. I have it on VHS. You can borrow it. It's so much better. And then you get to slow down and watch 900 commercials on the breaks, and Gilbert Gottfried yells at you. It's good. It's really
Affleck. Sound. I don't need to talk about the soundscape. It was okay, but it wasn't perfect. I don't even need to go there with this movie. You know what you're getting. They did
The
not take the
the
time to make this right.
voiceovers are so good.
They
They're
just
so good. It's just here's a human in a booth talking. Oh, this person's actually on set talking. Oh no, human in a booth again. Like 90% of the people were in booths, but then randomly one person would actually be talking on set.
there was a weird audio thing in the beginning too, at least on the VHS, where it sounded like there's an echo going on the whole entire time,
Yeah, because
and
there's
it was
echo
like,
in the booth. Yeah.
yeah, it was like, you guys, you have to fix that. You can't just let that. And they
No.
didn't. They didn't care.
That is gold foiling. That is fantastic. You leave that in movies like this. This is what Adam likes. This is the stuff I like.
They're outside in a field, and it is echoing. Like, stop.
Like they're in a
have to
5x5 room, and it's so good. These are the things that I love, Nick. These are the things I love about this movie.
And I will be 100% clear to everyone who's listening to this. I can overlook a lot of this if the movie is not a rape vehicle.
Once again, that's the fuel.
I'm having a hard time discerning the difference. And that's me. That's a me problem, I guess, at this point.
the point of the movie is cruelty.
Yes. Okay. There you go.
So the vehicle is patriarchal male dominance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine a giant jacked up pickup truck with truck nuts head dragging on the ground. That's the movie.
I don't have to
Um,
imagine that. I've seen it.
and then the rape is the fuel that goes into it, that drives it, right? Like the rape is what powers it. That's how we get there. So the issue is not that it's a patriarchal power fantasy. There's tons of movies like that. The issue is they impose their dominance through sexual abuse, which is not something that should ever be taken in jest in a movie of this quality, because you're never going to honor the reality of what's happening, or respect the reality of what's happening when you put it into something that's obviously not meant to be taken seriously. And if it was meant to be taken seriously, awesome, good job, did a great job. Very serious movie. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
big fan.
There's not many movies that are able to capture that super well. I think Irreversible is the one that everyone knows about and talks about because that one really hurts you in the way that you assume.
This kind of stuff happens in a lot of movies, though, in a lot of
Uh huh.
period pieces like
Uh huh.
this. Like, let's go back to like Braveheart, right? Like they take prima nocta of the women, right, and take
Mm-hmm.
the women after they're married and rape them before the male has a chance. Braveheart won Oscars. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not impossible to work that into a point of the movie. There's a way to do it that isn't like, this is cool. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
there's nothing cool about it. And this movie, I think I just hit it. I think the problem is this movie's acting like it's not that big of a deal. Like, this is just something that happens and get over it, And like, that feels really gross.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty correct. It's one of those things that, like, as you're watching it and you're staring at it. I was confused. I'm like, this moment that they're having here right now, is this the like are because they're filming it like this is like, oh yeah, boobs, but like that's not what's happening right now. What's
That's the
happening right now
movie
is
I wanted to
awful.
see.
But this one hurts me. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and the music, like I
Man, a
said.
rare swing and a miss from Roger Corman, huh? Anybody that knows Roger Corman movies know that what I just said was very sarcastic.
Yeah. Okay, so we zoomed through those because I feel like it's appropriate to zoom through those. Let's move on to this next little part here. Okay, your three favorite scenes of the film. Adam, will you take us away?
This is tough, right? Because I would say that a lot of the things I liked about this movie was vibe, right? And setting and costuming and the idea of it. And it was so poorly done on the other end that it's hard to be like, oh, I thought this was well acted and the writing was good in this scene. Like, that doesn't exist in this movie. So, that being said, um, and you and I both have this one, and we already talked about it. We'll talk about it together. Was the Kegel scene and the man getting kicked in acid?
Mm-hmm.
It was the only out of the box creative thing done during the entire film,
Oh, and it is
and
so
it was
ridiculous.
right, but it's like Evil Dead, tree vine penetration levels of like, what the fuck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
if you wanted to make that movie, make that movie.
Yeah, yeah, because we've been given absolutely zero like insight into this version of it the whole time. We know she's strong, but like she gets revenge in the moment, and that's the sort of awesome thing that needs to happen. And to make it, gosh, dude, Jimmy G,
So
just
then all of a
imagine.
sudden you would turn it into an actual female dominated power
Hmm.
fantasy, which is what I want, which is what it should have been.
Yeah.
Not a, oh, women in distress and they're bumbling their way through, but the men will save them.
Hmm.
Disgusting.
Hmm.
Mr. Cohen,
Yeah.
Rainbow Bright, how dare
Oh,
you?
come on, come on. That is my third favorite scene.
I'd say that I already talked about this, the dyeing of the cloth and the cloth flowing around. Great. Very pretty scene. That scene could have been in any movie. It had nothing to do with anything, but I think it would have been beautiful in any movie. It was
Yeah.
just very pretty. Whoever framed that scene had a good eye, you know. Boy, that's a stretch. And my third one, I said every scene where a rapist gets killed. Those are my favorite parts of the movie.
Yeah. Okay. I can dig that. I can dig that a lot.
Every time one of those guys got killed, I would go, fuck, thank God.
Yeah.
Like, it made me feel a little better about having watched the movie.
I think that's fair. Those are also the parts where you actually got to see any of the cool things most of the time. The rest was kind of anyway.
I think you absolutely could have created a retribution story without all of that.
Goodness
Maybe
gracious,
maybe
yeah.
your husband just gets stolen and he's being forced to fight in the pits. Maybe that's enough.
Like, you know what would have made a crazy movie if Argon was the one inside of the brothel the whole time and he was the one who was being sold out to everybody and Amethea had to come and rescue him. You know, that would have been a crazy movie. Very different.
It would have been a good. That might have been good.
There's a chance, right?
No, there's not. But
okay, so my three favorite scenes. We've already talked about them, so I'll go through these fairly quick too. My first favorite was the arrow through the head during the opening attack scene. I've talked about this in a lot of movies. When you have that hope that there could be something good to come out of all this, and you see something like that, you're like, yes, great. And it just
his reaction, the sound, the voiceover they did for him when it's kind of like a Wilhelm scream, but it was even better. And just right in an arrow has to be a foot into his skull, yet he's still vocal and goes, oh, and spins around and dies. There
are a lot of those like super theatrical, funny deaths that happen in this movie, but yeah, they had to stick this one with the arrow through the head. You know, like it worked.
Yeah, so good. I agree. That was and the best special effect in the movie too.
Mm-hmm. My second favorite was the knee-high water fighting, featuring the leather boots, because it was ridiculous. And at like two different times we see Lena Clarkson just fall down because it's probably really, really hard to do that
Into
fight.
That
because
chocolate milk water
it just
of Argentina.
It looked cool, so I'm giving it all the credit in the world here, and I mean that like enthusiastically.
She jumps off
the
roof and fucks that guy up. It's awesome.
It's cool. And it is like logistically, if you think about it logically for like 30 seconds, what it would actually be like to fight in knee-high water like that, it's next to impossible. I don't really see a way. They had to use all those cuts because both of these guys were just falling over every single time they took a swing.
And the bank was muddy. You know it was. They're sinking in. And,
yeah. But it was cool because that was, it's a fantasy movie. This is a cool fantasy to having this cool fight in this knee-high water, and it looked awesome. So this is the one movie where
you had to have a way to get her wet, right? Like that's important to the movie.
Unfortunately, she wasn't wearing a shirt per se, so you're missing out on one of But it was a good fight scene, and then the interspersed with the other fight was a clever idea that seemed like they were punching above their weight just a little bit during this part.
I think with the right camera cuts, or maybe a steady camera cut that went back and forth inside the house and back out, but showing the wall transition,
you
could have made it very cool.
Sick. Yes,
right?
Yes,
because I liked what they were trying to get at. I understood it, but it was disjointed because of the cuts.
It also made it feel like both
of
these
things were
hard
cuts, right? Like
they were, and like the spatial continuity wasn't there at all. But like the idea that they were both fighting these guys at the same time, they took them by surprise at the same moment. Really, like that did transfer over, and it worked for me. It was just really cool. And then my third favorite scene was that Kegel death, because I agree, it was just so ridiculous the whole time. I'm like, this is awful, but I'm now laughing because this has got to be one of the funniest ideas that I've ever heard. That doesn't it can't.
It got to a point in the writing where you were like, an original thought. Oh my god! Like.
Well, that guy
I haven't seen this before.
Like, that guy really sucked. Like, his costume was cool, and for a second you think maybe he'll be cool, but then he's like doing that, and he's like, I haven't finished yet. And then you get to watch him die.
The worst.
Yeah.
Just the worst.
Yeah.
The brothel master and that basement guy are just the worst.
Gosh, the brothel master. My only one note on the brothel manager, I wrote, the brothel manager is crazy. I don't think I can take it.
I instantly had this image in my head of Breakfast at Tiffany's and Mickey Rooney playing the downstairs Chinese neighbor. You know what I'm talking about?
Just yeah, I do know what you're talking about. Like
Uh huh.
what?
Exactly what I had, and I'm like, why are we doing this 30 years later? Like, we already got told once that this is really bad. Like, don't do this ever again.
All you need to do to not make this terrible is don't give him the mustache. Just stop somewhere. Just can someone walk in and be like, "Hey, cut the mustache off." He can be a weirdo. That's fine. But like once you have the mustache in, we all know what you're doing.
Yeah, you were
And
not
it
hiding
doesn't
it.
fit with anything else. Like, why is the brothel manager
Nothing at
so out of
all.
place?
And if it's Roman, like he said, where's this guy coming from, anyways?
Like, are they like alluding to the fact that it's an opium den, but without ever actually doing any work on that, and
Brother,
also
you
racistly
just
be?
nailed it. That has to be it, right? Like, opium den. Yeah.
That's what I feel like it is. But it's like that's not. This isn't good enough for a reason
No. No.
because
It was
it
just.
doesn't make sense, really. But
See,
like,
this is like the tongue in cheek stuff, though, because I think they thought that was funny, right? Like, haha, this is funny, right? Like, but there's nothing funny about it.
no,
That happens
no.
a lot in this movie, I think, where they think it's funny or amusing. Let's not say funny. They think it's amusing, or stereotypically amusing, but it's just not.
Right, right, or like this sells it as more realistic or something garbagey like that, you know. Um,
No, that character, there's nothing about realism built into that at all. That is just a stereotype of like, I'm not going to get into it, but like that's a stereotype of a certain kind of person, and that's not the first movie that person's been in as not that actor, but that's not the first time that stereotype's been put on film, and it's gross every time somebody does it.
yeah, I can't. There's more than just Breakfast at Tiffany's too. Like all of 30s
Yes.
Hollywood was
Uh
doing
huh.
this. They're like, we don't want to cast Asian people, so we're gonna instead make this extreme
Correct.
caricature. And they're always involved in opium, you know.
Yep. It's always that den with the flowing silks and
Mm-hmm.
the couches and people laying around. That's exactly what it looks like. I think you probably hit the nail on the head with that one.
It's just not good enough of a justification. So, Adam, we've said a lot of things. Let's jump into our review here. I'm gonna let you go first because this is the film you watched with me and
Okay.
chose.
So, a film like this starts at 10 points for me because
Okay.
it's got what I want it to have. Like, the
Okay.
box tells me, like, you're going to have a good time with this movie. Instantly, because of the writing and the things that they put into it, generally, I wouldn't, if they would have taken the subject matter seriously, I wouldn't do this, but it gets minus 5 points. I just
Okay.
have to right off the bat because no.
Yeah.
Um, this movie as something playing in the background on USA Up All Night when I was 14 years old. Actually, I really paid attention to it when I was 14, let's not lie. But was something that I've always remembered. To this day, I remembered it fondly. Now I no longer remember it necessarily fondly. I remember it as something historic now that I've learned a lot more about it and like understood what the difference this thing made in like Argentinian filmmaking and certain actors and how like there's a lot of history to this movie that's very interesting that's not about the movie. And I think that's the most interesting stuff we've talked about. Um, the script is shallow is a word. The script is almost non-existent to an extent. It is such a trope that is reused over and over and over again in recycled different ways with shitty movies like this. But we knew that there was going to be a lack of effort, but a considerable lack of effort. The laziness of using the old, I can't get behind a movie that uses sexual violence as a vehicle for humor. I can get behind it if it's used for violence, I guess, kind of, but it's nothing I would go out of my way to watch, right? And so the fact that the first time I saw it, that wasn't in it. Now that I'm older and like I have kids and like, yeah, no, I didn't like that. As far as the genre of movie goes, this is one of the poorer examples of this style of movie. um, just because of the female it's cruelty. And I like a lot of sexploitation films and exploitation films, but I like the reason those films exist is it's this real transfer of power to women. And it's done in a way that is tasteful, sometimes weird. It can be weird, it can be odd, it can be in your face, it can be all sorts of things. But there's a truth to the women's power that this movie doesn't have that. This movie's about abuse and patriarchal abuse of women. And it makes it really hard for me to appreciate anything that happened in this movie because of that. That overshadows it. So I'd give it like a 1.5.
Okay, that's fair. All right, so I knew nothing going in basically.
The VHS box art though, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, the that artist, man, he should have been given all the money for all these
Boris
movies.
Vallejo is his name. Look him up. His shit is amazing.
I mean, it's like if they would have got him for Magic the Gathering, that game would have popped off even earlier than it did. You know,
Some of this he does have some cards. Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. It really does. Okay. So I'm gonna just go through my numbers. I'm not gonna. We don't have to do a full break. You've heard what I think. My story is a 2. Acting is a 2.
Hey.
Cinematography, creativity is a 2.
Hey.
Editing, pacing, that's a 2.
Hey.
Music sound, that's a 2.
Uh-huh.
And these are all fitting in with the rubric. And there's a lot of respect for people who make these movies in here. Like, and I don't mean necessarily the writer who wrote all these terrible scenes, but everyone else who truly did try. There were people who were trying on this. They were. So if you hear the 2,
if
you're
they
like,
would have
wow.
left that bullshit out, if they would have just cut the gross stuff, this movie might have actually been fun.
Yeah, they really could have, like, if go with the comedy aspect of this movie, guys. Like, let the comedy come out.
I assume that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, well, that's fair. I mean, you just do that, right? And you have something to work with there. Even if it's bad, at least it's funny. Anyways, that gives me a 4 out of 10. That's not. I feel like that is maybe a little higher than I feel. My vibes based reviewing is telling me that's a little higher, but like I'm giving it a 4 out of 10.
I also think that I'm viewing it. I just got to start using your rubric, man, because I think you're right. I think it probably is a 4 out of 10 movie because it's not. I'm offended by it, so I'm giving it a bad score, but I shouldn't do that. You're probably right. It probably is a fucking 4 out of 10 movie. I bet you. What is it on IMDb or whatever? 4.5, 4. I bet you it is.
4.2. Yeah.
There you go. Exactly.
It's hard because I hate also being like on IMDb, but this is just my rubric, man. And I just got this from the way they teach film students.
Right.
Like how to make, like, here's what you look for in movies. And I was like, okay, well, that seems like a objective and empirical enough way for me to judge things. Because
we'll both both give it a 4 out of 10. There was some redeeming things to this movie. But
just overshadowed by some
redeem is a very strong word. There was no redeeming things to this movie. There were some entertaining parts about this movie, but like ice cream tastes good, but not when it's full of fucking broken glass, you know, like I'll pass. Like I do like ice cream, but like I'm not going to go through and pick around the broken glass either to like say it's good.
It's not
full. It's still full of broken glass stuff.
There are 4 out of 10 movies that I recommend, but this is one of those movies I don't really recommend it. To
the right person, I would, that wouldn't take it seriously, right? But those aren't the kind of people I hang out with.
Yeah,
there's so many better fantasy sword movies that exist. Like, you don't have to watch this one. If you're at the bottom of scraping the barrel and you've seen them all, go ahead and watch this one, but it's just going to make the other ones seem better, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so like we've for additional crew altogether, we've reviewed 2 movies that I would recommend over this one that are similar style. And one is Dragon Slayer.
Oh, so good!
Big go check out. Go check out Dragon Slayer. That's a movie that is definitely.
I got that on Betamax right there. That's a good one.
That's a sick one. And then even the new Dungeons and Dragons, like that one's just that one does lean into the comedy way heavier, and it works because of it.
Yeah, it's fun,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, it won't blow your socks off as like cinema.
Well, like I'm looking up in my movies, right? Like the Dungeon Master, the Warrior and the Sorceress, Galaxina, Dragon Slayer, Sorceress, like all of these movies, Deathstalker, all of these are much better than this one. And those are just the Betamax I'm looking at, right? And when it comes to fantasy, if you want something that's even more lighthearted, watch like Willow or Labyrinth or Legend, like there's good fantasy movies. There are, but you have to dig through a lot of trash to find the good ones.
It's the nature of things, especially if you're talking 80s budget movies.
Which is like the problem is, and the problem you're going to have reviewing movies with me is that is my nostalgia. That's my Q zone, man. That's my nostalgia zone, and it's like a warm, stinky blanket, and like, yeah, is this movie appropriate? No, it's not, and I think that we've cleared that. But like, it's not going to stop me from watching all the rest of them.
Oh, that's all right. I think the big difference here is that like my nostalgia movies came out when the internet was big and I was pirating movies. So that means there's no specific time lane for it.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is this movie is not forgivable. But as a piece of movie history, especially with everything that happened and like all the things that were connected with this and the time and like that, to me, that VHS cassette you have is art. It is gorgeous. Like, I will still keep my copy of this movie. I think it's kind of important. I really do. Not in the way that it should be, right? But it really shows the corruption and the slime in the movie industry, right? Yep. Beyond how bad the script treated women. Let's be honest. The people writing this movie, the people producing and pushing this movie, none of those actors were treated well. None of those actors were treated terribly. The sets were built by uninsured, day laborers, and like, yeah, it's a very interesting time, all set off by Armando Bo, and like, so yeah, I think it's important's a strong word, but I think it's interesting, as a oddity and something. But yeah, like I've said to you before, there's lots of movies from back then that we can just kind of push through because it's about the times, right? Like, but yeah, this one don't work like that. You can't do that.
There's a certain level of depravity that you hit, and you're like,
can't
okay.
Have 80s beach party rape in a battle queen. Like, there's just too much going on, man. Like, just pick a lane, stay in it, like, and just cut all the crap. So yeah, watch. If you want to see this movie and you want to enjoy it, go on Internet Archive and look up the USA Up All Night version of this movie, and you might actually have a really good time with it.
Yeah, the uncut version is not what I would recommend. Okay, so
whoever edited it for USA was probably way better at filmmaking than anybody that had a part to do with this.
Yeah, they're like, oh my gosh, get rid of all of it.
I need to fix this so bad.
Okay, so in 2 weeks you'll check Adam and I back here. The next movie we're gonna watch is one that I already showed off earlier. It is a movie that I'm interested in. It's a Spanish horror movie, The Coffee Table. Not this one does not have Antonio Banderas, but it is. The tagline is only that it's a cruel movie. So we're gonna get hurt. Madonna's gonna get hurt. Everyone's gonna get hurt.
Where was this movie? Where was Barbarian Queen filmed?
Argentina.
Don't cry for me, Argentina. That's from Evita.
Is that the movie where she was the dictator?
This is the movie where she sings "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina." Very topical.
Next movie, check out The Coffee Table. We'll be watching that one and talking about it. I'm gonna after this movie, I was like, Adam, you're gonna watch some of this weird like psychological horror from nowadays with me just so everyone can feel a little bad at the end of it. But that'll be the next one. It should be fun. I hope it's
I
as
mean, I
good as
pay
I've
for
heard.
antidepressants, so hit me with it.
You're like, I gotta make use of them, please.
No, it's easy to make use of them. Have you watched the news today?
Oh, yeah, too much, for sure. Okay, so with that said, yeah, check out the coffee table. Check us in 2 weeks. I'm no rebel.